What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. And reserved for the best is super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at @6th_element_comic. Welcome everybody to the sixth element of hip hop. I am your host, Reno Noir, and this is my co-host, Stu Dog, over here to my left. What's good, Stu? Man.
Peace.
Yeah, I just noticed how I got the thumbnail set up with two sides, and the line goes directly down the middle of our pictures there, of our images. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's weird. But it's cool.
It's cool. Yeah. And yeah, so the thumbnail, it says the crossover event, or the crossover nobody knew they wanted, hip hop and comics, referring to the Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man crossover idea that Kevin Feige is twerking. I don't know. Stu, have you watched Ms. Marvel yet?
Yeah,
Keep it a buck. Okay.
I was going to today. But unfortunately, I work a little longer than a normal person is supposed to work. Through no fault of my own. So just remember, they don't care. Like Michael Jackson said, they don't really care about us. That's true. So that was my plan. Right. That was my plan today. I was gonna come home, work out, watch Miss Marvel. It's 2 episodes out. I haven't had a chance to watch it. Have you watched it? I've heard mixed things about it.
I actually did.
What'd you think?
I wasn't gonna. It's not. Listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck too. It's not something I'm interested in. I couldn't care less about the character. Never have. Never will. It's just not for me. And that's the beauty of Marvel. There is something for everyone. Right? There is something or somebody for everyone. Look at this. You can't tell me, out of all these characters, and look, she's even right there. There she is, right in the middle, right there. That's Miss Marvel. So she's there. I mean, look, there's somebody on here for everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're into. What kind of stories you like, what kind of characters you like, what age bracket you're in, what race, what culture, what sexual preference. Doesn't matter. There's something for everybody in Marvel. And Ms. Marvel is just, is for someone. It's just not for me. But okay, so I knew I have this YouTube show that we do, and we review shows, and Disney Plus only gives us, 1 or 2 shows at a time. So I figured, well, I'm gonna have to watch this show to review and probably trash horribly on our YouTube show. So I reluctantly put it on, and by the end of the episode 1, I couldn't hit episode 2 fast enough. I wanted to see more. It was actually good. And I don't mean they didn't make me interested in the character. It's still not something I'm into. What I mean by it is it's good writing, it's good directing, and it's good acting. It's good production. They have a budget that makes sense. It's everything Obi-Wan was not. Right? Yeah. And if we had where was this team when they made Obi-Wan? Where was this quality? But this shows you what their priorities are. It shows you what their agenda's about and what they care to put into it. You know what I mean? Obi-Wan, white male, let's say what it is. Not gonna get a lot of oil. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And Kamala Khan, female, young, woman of color, fits their format perfectly. It's everything that they're about and everything they want to push and promote. So they give it their all, and you can see it, man. You can really see it. The show was just well done. And that's why I watched it. That's why I enjoyed it. And this is what they need to understand. If you want to catch the casual audience or the audience that aren't the built-in fan base, you need quality. Because if you put shitty quality, that's for the fan. I mean, look, that's why the CW shows that are poor quality are so revered or watched, because they serve the fans. It's, you know what I mean? The fans, they give the fans what they want. They give them the characters, they give them the costumes, they give them the powers. And so, yeah, so
I agree, Reno. I agree. They also do the one thing that we always talk about. They
stick to the content.
They stick to the content, the source material.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't stray too far from that.
Right.
You know, they might give us a little bit of resistance. But
a little bit of TV dumb, a little bit of, you know, Hollywoodisms or whatever, you know, to make it their thing. But yeah, they largely stick to the content. It's what made the 90s animated X-Men show so good, because they pulled from the content. The early 2000s heavily from the they almost did the stories verbatim, but they did change up a lot,
stuff,
but but not enough that it was like, what even is this, like we're getting now. Spider-Man too. Spider-Man, the 1999 Spider-Man series. Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man. That one was also pulled largely from the source material. I mean, they even said, you know, story by Stan Lee and shit like that, like from each episode. So that's what these companies need to realize. If you're gonna do fan service, then you can skimp on budget, you can skimp on quality rather, and you can just give the fans the content. If you want to deviate from that, you're going to have to back that up with some major budget, some major quality to enforce and to make it watchable. And that's what they did with Kamala Khan, with Ms. Marvel. It's what they did not do with Obi-Wan. Like Obi-Wan, you change the content, you're going so far from the source material, from the real stuff, but also you have zero quality, zero budget, zero acting, zero directing, zero writing. It's just trash. So it doesn't line up. Now, if you wanted to skimp on budget and do all these things, fine. Then you've got to stick to the source material so that the fans can be like, yeah, it's great, because it gives us that feeling that we got from the comics or the cartoon or the video games. Like with the Kamala Khan, was good, Slade. Like with the Kamala Khan show, with the Ms. Marvel show, they deviated greatly from the comics. Her power was embiggen. Her hands get big, right? She can enlarge her hands or whatever. That's her power from the comics. That's what but they deviated from that. They gave her some fancy bracelet that gives her cosmic
powers. But see, Reno, we know she's in a human, and we know how humans get their powers.
Right.
And that is the part that I think, right, it isn't that. It's the bracelets. And I think that's where they dropped the ball, because unless they're going to find another way to introduce the Inhumans into the Marvel Universe, that's your shot right there. That was your. Now, I ain't gonna say it's your only shot, but it was a damn good one, because we know she's in the human. Right, we know she's in the human. We know that 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt. And like I said, we all know how humans are made.
Right. It's like X-Men. It's like mutants when they put mutants in the MCU, but before they had the rights, and they would give these other explanations as to why Pietro and Scarlet Witch got their powers, and not mutantdom, not the X gene. So but I say that to say this: they deviate from the content, but they back it up with quality storytelling, quality writing, quality scripting, quality directing, quality production. I mean, it looks like a movie. Like you compare Ms. Marvel to Obi-Wan, and you can see what I mean by film quality, television network show quality. I mean, it's just different. You can just see it. It really, whatever it is they do, I know they don't use film anymore, but whatever they do to make it look better, they've done, and you can tell the difference.
Right.
Yeah. But it makes up for the fact that either A, you're a big fan of this character and they've changed so much of it that it makes up for it, or B, you couldn't care less about this character, but you still can enjoy the show because it's done well. Right? Where
Right.
with Obi-Wan, it's like, if you don't care about the character, the show's not done well, so you're not gonna care. You know what I mean? Like, but if you love the character, you'll, suspend you'll let some things slide and all of that. But if they would have just put the quality that they put into Ms. Marvel into Obi-Wan, fans would be ecstatic. It wouldn't have mattered all the silly little stuff. The little stuff they did wrong would have just been, filed away as nitpicks.
Right, little nuances. Well,
Mhm.
Reno, do you think they do this on purpose? Do you think that Disney really doesn't have a quote unquote plan or defined agenda for Star Wars like they do the Marvel universe?
Well, it's like you said before, Hollywood's not that smart, right? So I just don't think they're smart enough. I just don't think they've realized that if you want to change the content and you want to not give the fans the nostalgia that they deserve or want, then you've got to back it up with quality,
Right.
quality everything. And if if you want to skimp on quality, that's fine too. But then you've got to stick to the content. You've got to give us a reason to love it. And I just don't think they figured that out yet. But this is a perfect example of it. Miss Marvel and
Right.
Obi-Wan, perfect.
Right. Well, I also think that when you got a thing like Star Wars, uh, you gotta like me personally. I'm gonna just go out on a limb. I think Disney should have just left everything alone and just started something new.
Mm,
We would have appreciated that more
yeah,
than
yeah,
what they've done with Star Wars. Like those last three movies, you could have gave us all new characters. If Kathleen Kennedy and everybody's, I ain't gonna say everybody, but she's so against you know the old characters. Like, just give us new characters. Give us a whole new story. I
right,
mean, you could have still used the Empire. You could have still used the First Order, but you could have gave
right,
us all new characters. Ships, everything. You could have gave us a whole new everything,
yeah.
and they didn't. Um, and because they didn't, that's why it seems so empty. Because it's it's time to move on. I
Well,
mean, but then at the
they
same time, we
did
want to know what happens.
they did with the High Republic, but that's for little kids. Like the High Republic stuff is for children. It's not for adults. It's very much kiddie stuff. Their whole High Republic era, it's got no wars. It's not allowed to have any war and stuff like that. Like they're very specific. Like that show is for kids, and it's all new content, all new characters. Not related to any of the movies. Takes place before the first, episode one.
Oh, wow.
It's a completely new era. It's the High Republic. It takes place like 100 years before Phantom Menace when the Jedi were just at their golden peak of the peak of their existence, when when they had order in the galaxy and they were loved pretty much by everybody, and it was like the height of the Jedi. And that would be a really cool thing to explore if it was done for grown-ups, but it's done for kids and certain communities, and it's it just it would have been great, like you said, Stu. It would have been great. We would have dug it if they would have given us something like that, given us something like that. But
Right.
all we get is these twisted versions of characters that we loved. I mean, who did they think that was for? What they did with Luke Skywalker in the trilogy, in the sequel trilogy, what they're doing with Obi-Wan, making them these weak, dried up hermits. Like, who is that for? If it's for the new generation, why? They don't care about those characters anyways. They don't know them. You didn't have to even mention them.
Right. I think Harrison Ford kind of gave us a foresight to that when he said that he was glad that they killed Solo because he didn't think his character's presence progressed the story any further,
right?
Or that it was necessary in order to further on Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think he was right. I mean,
he had a point.
He's right.
Yeah,
and at the same time, if they're gonna take the characters and they're gonna do them the way, like he said, like write them in where they just aren't relevant, they're there, then give us all new characters, give us a whole new cast. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody will accept that.
Absolutely. And it's just sad that they're just not smart enough to figure that out. But Kevin Feige, so that Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man No Way Home crossover was Kevin Feige's idea, of course. Outside of Taylor Swift, who has contributed more to the Easter eggification of pop culture than Kevin Feige, right? The puppet master of the MCU has bent cinema to his will to the point where a well-placed voiceover in a vague post-credits scene has fans, foaming at the mouth for a character that they haven't even seen yet. Frankly, diabolical, and everyone knows who's pulling the strings. But this maneuvering isn't limited to major characters like Blade, right? Even a character like Agent Cleary from the Department of Damage Control is not below the notice of the big Marvel boss. Arian Moayed's character first appeared in Spider-Man No Way Home as the cunning investigator of Pete's, Tom Holland Peter's supposed crimes. And he recently showed up again in the same capacity to track down Kamala Khan and Ms. Marvel. So they've linked. That's where the sort of connection is. Sada, welcome.
Hey, hello.
What's up, girl? We talking about the Captain, well, the Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man crossover that they were doing with the shows and stuff.
Oh snap! There's gonna be a crossover.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there's a character from Damage Control. So if you guys don't know, and you know what? I might even have one. Let me see. No. Oh, shit. I don't know where it is, but Damage Control was a comic. It was a comedy comic. It was a comic sort of made like tongue in cheek about a crew of characters that go behind superheroes when they destroy cities, or villains destroy a city and the superheroes destroy a little bit of city too while they're fighting the bad. And then this crew called Damage Control comes in behind them and repairs shit. Right? Because you'd be wondering, like, how are cities not just crumbling everywhere with superheroes doing what they do? Well, Damage Control is their answer, right? And there's a character out of Damage Control that that has appeared both in Spider-Man No Way Home and now the Ms. Marvel show. He's Agent Cleary from Damage Control, and he's working as or posing as a investigative journalist, right? Or an investigator. I think he's a journalist. I don't, but he was definitely investigating the Spider-Man No Way Home, crimes that Peter was accused of at the time, and then he's again now in the Ms. Marvel show to track down Kamala Khan. With that, okay, no, yeah, so they're not, yeah, he wasn't acting as a reporter. He's literally like an agent, and but it's a Kevin thing. Ms. Marvel showrunner Bisha Ali told The Hollywood Reporter when asked how Cleary made the cut for the Disney Plus series, she said, "Kevin knows all that, man. He introduced the idea of Agent Cleary being a part of our show, and that's the thing about working with Marvel. Kevin and the execs know all the pieces that we might not even know. So they'll come in and be like, okay, you have this. So let's manifest it through this piece, interconnecting it with something else. And that's the thrill of being a part of the MCU. So that's definitely a Kevin fix. That's what she said. And, this is not a case of a character becoming a fan favorite and thus being dropped into a new show. Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel were filming at the same time, so no one had any attachment to Cleary at the time. And it was probably pretty convenient for the creator of the character to commute from one set to another in Atlanta. And this makes the continuity of his character all the more impressive, considering that Ali told the Hollywood Reporter that they didn't even get the dailies for Agent Cleary to get a sense of him in No Way Home. Pushing for such a minor character is very nitpicky, but it's undoubtedly a galaxy-brained move from Feige to make the universe feel more interconnected. On the other hand, maybe he was just wanted Ms. Marvel to have its own, Jimmy Woo moment. But either way, the Easter egg loving fandom are surely eating that up.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
We just wanted. I think a lot of people were turned off by the bracelets, and they wish he would have just.
I was.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people wanted something different.
Right.
So Miss Sada, why were you turned off by the bracelets?
It just felt really unnecessary, especially because the director, I think, she came out and said, like, we didn't change your powers because of Mr. Fantastic. So then why did you change them? Like, I don't understand why we have a diet Green Lantern when it didn't have to be that way. If you don't want her to be an Inhuman, fine. But why not just have it come from her lineage? Like, she just has these powers because of her lineage. Like, it's very simple to me. And they just made it really difficult for no reason to me. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit it on the head, though. It is because they don't want to have, in here the Inhumans. They didn't want to deal with the Inhumans or bring them on and make a thing about it. So they couldn't really just make it her Inhumanness without having introduced the Inhumans. And I think they want to be, they want to run away from that because of how badly the show went, which is foolish. I mean, the show was just bad. The characters weren't the problem, but I fucking hate the Inhumans anyway, so I couldn't care less. But I do love Black Bolt. He's an awesome character. I Black Bolt's still one of my favorite characters, and I hate the Inhumans. So, but that just shows you that,
I think everybody hates the Inhumans, man. Marvel always pushes them.
Well, they did. They pushed them to. They wanted them to take to replace the X-Men because at the time the X-Men they had dipped in popularity. Like people weren't buying X-Men comics, and so they created the Inhumans to sort of replace the X-Men. And then, then the X-Men got popular again. And then it's like, why do we have these Inhumans now? And they, have to make up shit to do with them. And that's why they suck. But, Sada, do you think when you say lineage, do you mean like her grandmother had these powers too, and like that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be maybe like that, but just something, I don't know, just something like that. Like it just came from her grandmother's mother or something. I don't know. But maybe it's just been in her family's history and it manifested with her. I don't know. But I feel like the bracelets, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that. But the issue I had with the bracelets was that if her grandma had these bracelets or whoever it was, why didn't we know about that hero, that character? If she was out there doing something, where was this character? That should
have been in the records.
But I find that still being a problem with the lineage idea too, because where did this when was that character out? Like, wouldn't we know about them?
Yeah. And that lends to a bigger issue for me for the show. Like in terms of like the placement, it's very odd because her whole thing is being fixated on Captain Marvel, but we've barely seen Captain Marvel be a hero. Like she had her thing in her solo movie, which took place in the past, and then she had her stint in Endgame. So we really never seen her interact with the public or have public perception of her to where now Miss Marvel's come in and she's fixated on her specifically, and now she's going to be this big thing. I just think they could have waited. They could have done a solo series on Kate Bishop before Miss Marvel. I feel like, in my opinion, I think they could have waited.
Right. No, that makes sense too. It leaves it again. I mean, what do we do with these characters? I mean, why are we even using these characters to make shows when nobody cares about these characters? And then if
to make them there.
And then if you're gonna use characters that no one cares about, then you have to give us a reason to care about them, like maybe at least sticking to the
the continuity,
the source material and the shit that people do know about them, right? So I think that they
just don't.
Yeah,
like I said, I've always said Hollywood's not that smart. For some odd reason, stuff, man. I guess we all know they only care about the casual audience. And that's just it. They just casual audience can get it. The casual audience can love it. They can make money off it. Maybe squeeze the cow a little more and make another one.
Right. I got something for Slade. Slade said he wants the nakedness. Where is it?
I
got you, Slade. Here you go, buddy. Here you go, buddy. There you go. There's your nakedness.
There you go. Oh,
woo!
Ezra,
I gotta look at the chat. What is going on in the chat? What a mess. I think the Spider-Man Miss Marvel crossover is interesting. I get why they're doing it because, Spider-Man is popular, so I guess they think if you attach her onto him, it'll help boost her likeness or whatever. But I feel like a better partner would have been maybe America Chavez. They're kind of around the same age. I think if they had utilized her better and maybe brought her in on this show, that would have been nice. And then you could have built the Young Avengers, continuing to build them through those two, and they would have had a previous, friendship, and that would have been cool. But I just thought about that the other day. I was like,
yeah, that's a good, because you could have them two. You could also throw in Ironheart and Shuri, and just have a whole young women, Avenger team or new Avenger team.
You could throw
and
that
would be huge. Throwing Storm as the leader. That would be cool.
Have you guys if you guys wanted to see a crossover, like Marvel gave you the ability to say, we're gonna do a crossover, 2 heroes, they get their own show, 10 episodes, who would it be?
For me, simple. Cable and Wolverine. Yeah.
What about you?
I'd say Spider-Man and Daredevil. I would love to see that.
Yeah, those are they always.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Mine would be Punisher and Deadpool. Put those two
Punisher and Deadpool. That would be dope.
That would be dope. Together. Let's see what happens. But like I said, they just gotta. Disney's got some big shoes to fill with Star Wars. They're doing good with Marvel. But when it comes to Star Wars, I don't know, man. It seems like it seems like they try to do something different on purpose. And then when the fans don't like it, it's like they switch back. They're like, oh, that didn't work. And I think they're just gonna keep doing it until they find something that we don't complain about. And they're gonna be like, you know what, that works, so let's just keep doing that.
Yeah. Good luck. You'll never find nothing that fans don't complain about. And that's the thing, like you're always gonna have complaints. So, but don't do stuff that is gonna give you the ultimate amount of complaints. Like you I think if you're paying attention, guys, you can tell what fans are liking and what we're not liking. We're pretty vocal about it. You can't say you didn't know.
That's true.
Yeah, you can't tell us you didn't know.
Yeah,
Where did I?
yeah, you can't. You really can't. But
Yeah, no.
for the most part, Disney, when it comes to Star Wars, they normally drop the ball, and they don't with Marvel, and that's not fair to the fans because you acquired Star Wars. If you weren't going to do a good job with it, why acquire it? Let somebody else get it.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're not. They're. I mean, you can, like you said, you can look at the show Ms. Marvel. You can look at Obi-Wan. I am a huge Star Wars fan. Everyone knows this. I couldn't give a rat's wet turd about Ms. Marvel, but I'm telling you, Ms. Marvel is a better show by far than Obi-Wan. I would, you know what I mean?
believe you.
No question.
That is
It's
saying something. That is saying something.
right. I mean, for me to say that, it's, it's got to be real. Like, why would I even say that? So, yeah, man, you guys, Disney, wake up, bro. Like, this is not. If you want to change the content from the source material, you have to back that up with super great quality of a project. If you don't want to put the money and the budget and the quality in, then you have to stick to the content, the source material. It's one of two ways. You can't have both. Like you can't skimp on budget and change the fucking story. I mean, it's just common sense to me, but Hollywood ain't that smart, right?
That never happened, man. Never will
As
be.
far as we know.
Moon
Knight.
Was a Thunderbolt. There's a Thunder. Don't forget, there's a Thunderbolts announcement.
That's right. That's right.
We finally.
What they say?
We've been talking about it, wishing for it. But now they got a Thunderbolt. We know there's a Thunderbolts. Something in the works. We don't know what. We don't know how. We just know it's in the works. How good it'll be, that remains to be seen. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be bad, and I'm going to say, but I do know one thing: they don't drop the ball when it comes to Marvel. They really don't. They might drop the ball with anything else, but they don't drop the ball with that.
Yeah,
so Thunderbolts, but with the introduction of She-Hulk, you could do a lot of Thunderbolts stuff. So we should have saw it coming. To be honest with you.
Well, Thunderbolts, like the let me see what their team. All right, so Marvel's Thunderbolts explained. The supervillain team that's about to reshape the MCU. You know what I'm saying? Like the MCU has been in a bit of a weird place lately. The Avengers, as we knew them, are basically gone following the events of Endgame. And Marvel is still building towards its debut of iconic teams like Fantastic Four and X-Men, which, by the way, Stu, is planned for 2024 X-Men. So that's good
X-Men
news.
or Thunderbolts?
X-Men. But this world needs protecting, right? And that responsibility might just fall on the shoulders of the Thunderbolts. But why are the worst villains on the planet suddenly fighting to save it? Let's see. Jake Shearer has been tapped to direct a top secret Thunderbolts movie. And it's so the history of it's a good time for you guys to brush up on the history of the team in Marvel's comics and why they could be a major game changer in the MCU. Firstly, who are the Thunderbolts? We've got, there have been many incarnations we've talked about on the show recently. Like there's been like 7 different Thunderbolts teams over the past 25 years. But there's only one common thread linking every version of the team. They're villains masquerading as heroes to further their own agenda. But though the various leaders of the Thunderbolts often have their own agendas, the team has a surprising habit of becoming a force for good. In the act of pretending to be heroes, the Thunderbolts often find themselves genuinely becoming heroes in the process. Still, even at their most heroic, the Thunderbolts are more extreme and brutal in their methods than most superhero teams, which is really fun to watch. Like the Thunderbolts mission is best summed up by their slogan of choice: justice like lightning. But they, like I said, it's cool to watch heroes not have like codes like I never kill bad guys and things like that just simply aren't realistic. I mean, if Batman, in the real world would have killed Joker a long time ago, but comics characters being available to write for, there's many reasons why they don't. It's not moral. This is not the reasons. It's not moral. It's all about money. They can't keep making comics and shows with characters that are dead.
This is true.
But yeah, so I think it's cool. The original team. See, I don't know who we're gonna get in this because we've got Thunderbolt Ross, which is the reason that they called the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, but who are they going to use as Thunderbolt Ross? That's the question.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yikes.
Stu, you still here? Stu dog. What did he do? I don't know. He probably But so Thunderbolt Ross is dead. Well, no, Thunderbolt Ross is not dead. The actor that plays him just passed away, William Hurt. So they have to recast him, but there is another. Well, there's another general in another iteration of the Thunderbolts that was actually a Red Hulk. And they could use that character. Following an early teaser appearance in the pages of Incredible Hulk, the team made their proper debut in the first issue of the Thunderbolts comic in 1997. But they were at the time they were led by a mysterious patriotic hero named Citizen V. The Thunderbolts make their debut in the aftermath of a devastating conflict with Onslaught, which is the amalgamation of Professor X and Magneto in this beasting, big bad character named Onslaught. But in this period, the Avengers and Fantastic Four have vanished, and leaving a power vacuum, and the Thunderbolts are only too eager to fill it. But despite, presenting themselves as worthy successors to the Avengers, the Thunderbolts are hiding a dark secret that's revealed at the end of the Thunderbolts #1, and that's that they're all villains in disguise. Citizen V is actually Captain America's nemesis, Baron Zemo. Many of Zemo's teammates are former Masters of Evil members, using, costumed identities. Even 25 years later, that twist ending is widely regarded as one of the most memorable moments in Marvel Comics history. They can't recreate that moment, though, because, we'll all know. But for the casual fans, I guess they could maybe surprise a few people by, revealing that these characters are actually these villains that we already know.
You think they'll do that for the show? I mean, for the movie?
Well, like I said,
I don't think so.
That's one of the most memorable moments in comicdom, and one of the biggest twists since Luke Skywalker's father being Darth Vader. But so if they they're gonna want to, they should, but I don't think they can, because how can they recreate it if we already know?
Right. Yeah. You think it's better? You think it's bigger than the opening of Al Capone's vault on the Geraldo Rivera show?
Nah, probably not.
That was pretty big. That was big.
What did you say though?
Oh no, I was saying the people they want to put on the team, it's going to be hard to do that kind of reveal because we've already seen them. Like, I'm guessing they're going to have Yelena. She's going to be like the big seller, and Zemo as well. And I'm not really sure who else, but these characters are so underdeveloped right now. It's going to be hard to do that. So that's why I'm like kind of weary on this Thunderbolts thing. Like I feel like of course this will be down the line and hopefully these people will be more developed by them. But as it stands, it's just too soon.
You say 2024? Really? You say 2024, right?
That was the X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
But no,
X-Men.
yeah, no, I think
All right,
Thunderbolts
wait.
will come before that. We'll probably get them next year.
Wait, time.
Oh
All right.
boy. Oh boy.
All right, for the next X-Men, and Reno, you said what, 2024?
That's what
You
they
think
say.
we're gonna get like a soft? You think we're gonna get a soft reboot, a continuation, or just something altogether, or do you think we'll get exactly what they're doing in the comics now? Because the reason why Marvel rewrote the X-Men was because of Fox. They wanted to, they
Yeah.
knew they couldn't get it back from Fox, and Fox wasn't trying to give it up. They were following the rules. So Marvel said, "Well, we're gonna stop writing X-Men," and then they started writing X-Men, but they just. So, do you think we're gonna get the new
Well,
versions of the X-Men?
I think it would be genius of them to go with Jonathan Hickman's House of X, Powers of X storyline because it gives them the ability to bring the mutants in, and like where have they been in the MCU? How come they haven't been a part of anything? Because in House of X, Powers of X, we learned that Moira McTaggart is actually a mutant, and her ability is to go back and repeat her life, and so basically time traveling. And when she goes back and then like she makes all these events happen. It's really hard to explain. Like I couldn't explain it in a paragraph here, but maybe we'll do a show about it. But yeah, it would be a good way for them to bring it in. Then they could do all the Krakoa stuff and all of that, which Krakoa is another way because Krakoa would have them on their own island. It's just
Right. It makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
because you can honestly say that's where they've been all this time,
Hmm.
and something just drew them out and made them, you
Right.
know, rear
Another
their heads and
way
say, "Well, hey,
though,
we need to help out."
yeah, and that would be the smartest way, but we know, like we say, what Hollywood's not that smart. So what they'll probably do is go with some Weapons Plus event, something, with because they've already established Weapons Plus, which is, what made Captain America and the red who's the Russian Captain America guy that played by Hopper, the character that played Hopper,
Oh,
the actor that played Hopper.
uh,
Who's like
Crimson.
Crimson Guard, something like that.
No, not Crimson. Oh man. This one. Keep talking. It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me.
Yeah, but so him, and it would be awesome to bring in Omega Red,
Red
like
Guardian. Red Guardian. Red
Red
Guardian.
Guardian. Yeah, Omega Red would be my best pick for a new villain to bring in. He's
Those are
just
some
fucking
big.
dude. He's awesome.
Those
Omega
are
Red
big.
is brutal, bro.
Those are some big shoes to fill, Reno.
What, Omega Red?
Yeah, bro. You
Yeah.
listen.
Well, I
You
mean,
can
look,
if
they
you
they've
do
given
Omega
us
Red.
Thanos.
If like Reno, if you do Omega Red, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You do Omega Red. First of all, he has to look. You can't go with your own Hollywood look for Omega Red. That will not go down
Hell
well
no.
with anybody. Number two, you cannot mess that up. You can't mess up his story. You can't switch his power. You can't do because people will be pissed if you do that. If you come in and make Omega Red some, I don't know, some cheesy looking,
Yeah, if he ain't this
uh,
guy,
if
we
that
want
right, if he doesn't look like that, yeah, it's
writing is bad.
you're
Let me
done.
just
Yeah, you're done. The Marvel universe will be done.
yeah, he's too brutal, dude. I mean, he's massive. He's he don't give a fuck. He's like a serial killer. You know what I mean? He's like he's a bad guy, which I love. Like great bad guys are always so hard to come by. And so that would be a great way to both bring in the mutants, introduce a great new villain, give us an awesome storyline, and it can connect to the Red Guardian and Black Widow and Captain America because you can blend all that, Weapons Plus stuff. It would even give Marvel a new Hulk to rock with because you got Weapon H, which is the big
Yep.
Hulk with the Wolverine claws, the gray Hulk with
Wolverine
the Wolverine
claws.
claws.
Yep.
Come on, man! Like, wake up. Marvel.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
You want to be woke? Wake the fuck up. This is what I'm talking about.
You can go with Mr. Fix-It. You can go. There's a lot of stuff, man. They can do.
There's
The Hulk.
plenty,
We
dude.
can go with Rock. We can go with Rock. I mean,
well, yeah, Thunderbolts. You got Rock right there.
Yeah, it goes on and on. But I think Marvel kind of directly did that because of the success of Suicide Squad. So they're like, all right, well, look, we got a villain team too.
Yeah.
That we can knock out. And Suicide Squad,
Mhm.
I mean, I kept saying it before the second one. It has a cult, casual fan following. Like the casual audience loves, and I mean, they love Suicide Squad, man. They just love it.
Mhm. Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah,
yeah, Thunderbolt seems like a sure bet. It's a sure shot.
Yeah,
You
it
can't.
should be, man.
Yeah, you can't. There's no way they'll not do that. I think their biggest hurdle is who to play Thaddeus Ross. You know, who to play Thunderbolt.
Yeah, because the guy that played Thaddeus Ross, he died, right? He passed away in real life.
Yeah, William Hurt.
Yeah, William Hurt. Yeah, that's sad, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens, man. And we'll see
I got
what
a
they
great
give us.
photograph. Oh, you can talk. You can talk.
We'll see what they give us. But I'm not gonna lie, Reno. I literally wanted to come home and watch Miss Marvel today, just to see what it was about, and I didn't get. But after the show, I'll do it tomorrow morning. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not gonna.
Listen, I'm telling you, you're not gonna.
Kamala Khan will be watching me. But if you say I'm not gonna be disappointed,
you're not gonna be disappointed. Well, okay, I'm gonna say it like this: you're not gonna become a new fan of the character or anything, but you will be able to see that it's quality. It's a quality show. Like that's all I'm saying. It's a very well-made show. You cannot deny that.
And I can go with that.
And I can go with that.
Yeah, and I can go with that.
That's
I can definitely go with that.
This is the MCU version of Thunderbolts. If they used the actors and characters that they've already used, right? You've got John Barenthal Punisher over there. You've got the U.S. agent goofy ear guy. You got Baron Zemo. You have Keanu Reeves as Ghost Rider. You've got the female Taskmaster, and then you've got Ghost down there on the end from Ant-Man 2, and then of course Red Hulk, Thaddeus Ross, and that's a badass lineup right there. That's a badass lineup. But
speaking of Ghost and Ant-Man was a well-written movie, bro. I can't take anything away from that. The first one was written.
Ant-Man, that's what you do. But
the first one was actually written by Marvel writers. They actually wrote that story, and bragged about it. That's the crazy part. Like, they bragged about it, like, oh yeah, like we wrote that. I mean, they were letting people know, like, this is what we did. And I like the fact that they did that. And so, let those guys keep writing. I mean, that's what they do, instead of letting Hollywood get so involved that it gets so watered down that we're like, what is this and why do we have it? And how is this even possible? Like we do with Star Wars, So I would like to see, and they do have another Ant-Man movie in the works.
Yeah.
So, when we're gonna get it, I have no idea. But, and Thor comes out in like 2 weeks or a week and a half.
Thor's about to drop soon. Yeah.
You excited for it or what?
Hell yeah! I think it's gonna be great. I loved Ragnarok. I thought Ragnarok was great. And I think that this movie's gonna be good. I was never a fan of the idea of his girlfriend becoming Thor, because Thor is the man's name. It's not a mantle. It's his name. So how is she now Thor? She's not Thor. She's whoever she is wielding the hammer, Mjolnir. Like, that's not, like, I don't know. I don't get calling her Thor and all of that. It's kind of weird. But like I said, it's been a good series so far. Like, the Thor movies, aside from the Dark World, have been really good. So, yeah, I can't wait to see it. I think it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, Thunderbolts, dude. Bro, look, here's another Thunderbolts. You got Songbird right there next to Zemo. You got the Crossbones is over there. Bullseye. Some dope characters. Is that Darkhawk in the back? The ball and chain dude, I forget his name. And I think that might be the guy.
Oh, that's Absorbing Man.
Absorbing Man, that's right. Absorbing Man. And then who is between Crossbones and Absorbing Man? That could either be a Shocker or a Prowler reimagining. I don't know.
Between Crossbones and
Absorbing.
That I think
looks like a purple Power Ranger.
I don't want to be wrong. Is that Mach 1 or no?
That's a good idea. Why not?
10th version of Mach, or is it I'm looking at. Could it be Beetle? Could it be the Beetle?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. You know what? I'll find out.
Let me see if they say. Well, Zemo's original Thunderbolts team was filled with villains that only the more
who's the one Reno between?
Recognize.
Now Reno, who's the one between Zemo? Who's the chick in the purple right there?
That's Songbird.
Okay, all right. Now who's that in between them? You see it right there in the back?
That's Darkhawk.
Okay, all right.
But yeah,
yeah, that is Darkhawk. All right.
Yeah, but like I said, it's his original team was like I said, filled with characters that only the more educated comic book lore fans would recognize. In contrast, Thunderbolt Ross's team had heroes like the Punisher, Ghost Rider, Deadpool, but with Zemo's team's longevity leads it to hold many more recognizable names over time. Like over the years, the team included Venom, Green Goblin, Juggernaut, Iron Fist, Luke Cage. It even had a few Avengers like Hawkeye, Black Widow, Ant-Man. Needless to say, Disney won't have to go searching for rights to superheroes to make this movie. They've got
They can use Deadpool. They can use Hawkeye. They can use Bucky Barnes. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a great number of characters just waiting in the wings for this movie to start. None of the Spider-Man villains, X-Men villains, or Defenders really need explanations or narrative setups to get called into a situation like this. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was as easy as going to the raft to pick up Zemo. And now that he's loose, anything's possible. His evil machinations could reach across international borders in order to assemble a group of villains. Even if he is in the hands of the Wakandans, his motives would have to be sinister enough to get him to plan a daring escape, though. In the comics, Zemo put the team together to save Eric Jostin, known as Power Man, then known as Goliath, the guy that grows real big. Unfortunately, we haven't seen him pop up yet in the MCU. But an alternative motivation he had in the comics was to destroy the Avengers, but they aren't really assembling these days. But some more prominent names on the Thunderbolts may be harder to find. Like it may be tough to pull Hawkeye away from his family after that lovely Christmas miniseries. But the same show did give us Swordsman, who was a Thunderbolt during the Secret Wars era, a cross-title universe event that Marvel seemed to hint to that they were setting up in the MCU. While movie-level superheroes spend time dealing with multiverses and Kang the Conqueror, the Secret Wars event could very well occur on Disney Plus. A Disney Plus level, bringing together some of the sidelined heroes and villains to create Thunderbolts. And of course, the whole thing could just turn into an Amanda Waller-esque use the bad guys to kill the bad guys kind of debacle. But that doesn't sound very creative. It's very much Suicide Squad. So I hope they do something more creative than that. But yeah, man, they've got all the makings for a Thunderbolts movie. They've got all the makings for a new Avengers. They've got, I mean, it's all there. West Coast Avengers. I mean, Moon Knight. You got, and speaking of Moon Knight, Marvel Studios. We were just looking at the Thunderbolts the whole time. My bad. But yeah, Marvel Studios has sort of scratched the surface of what the leading character could bring to the table in Moon Knight, particularly in terms of the numerous personalities that drive the lead hero's story forward. Season 1 largely focused on Mark Spector and his main alternate persona, Stephen Grant, although a darker Jake Lockley made his appearance felt throughout the series and then showed himself at the end of the episode, like he was in the taxi cab, turned around, you know what I'm saying, and gave a couple of bullets to Harrow. So that was Jake Lockley. Yeah, that was Jake Lockley, who I had been asking for the whole show, like, where the fuck is Jake Lockley? Where the fuck is Jake Lockley? Because he's a really interesting character.
Yeah, you did. Kept saying.
You remember that?
No, you did call that one. I give you 100. I give you straight props on that one because you did say it a lot. You was like, "Yo, Jake Lockley got to be in there somewhere." You kept saying,
you, man. Yeah. So they, but yeah, they, Oscar Isaac brought Jake Lockley to life in the post-credit scene from episode 6, right? While this most immediately sets up some wild potential storylines for season 2. If and when Moon Knight gets confirmed renewal. Jake's presence is already something that, has fans thinking about, what's on the way. And Jake Lockley was teased on at least a dozen occasions in season 1. Like I was saying, like before finally being introduced by name, adding a new dynamic to Mark Spector's growing legacy within the MCU. According to the crew that worked on Moon Knight, this is only the beginning for Mark's most violent personality to date. And they confirmed that all those times when you had Mark and Steven going, who did that? When they would just wake up, or they would just be a bunch of dead bodies all around them. And Steven would always be like, that was you, Mark. And Mark would be like, nah, that was you.
And it was Jake.
It was Jake
the whole time.
Confirmed. And I knew it.
You kept saying it. You did call that one. You did say it. You did say it.
In an interview with Moon Knight head writer Jeremy Slater, looks ahead to where Jake Lockley and Mark Spector's second personality could go in the future MCU outings. While Slater confirmed that this version of the character is definitely not the same Jake from the comics, he also teased the idea of him being an open book as he moves past Moon Knight season 1. As of now, both Mark Spector and Stephen Grant have no idea that Jake even exists. They have been kept in the dark about that from Khonshu. Khonshu does not tell them. Like, Khonshu's known all about it. He uses Jake whenever he needs to, but he's never let Mark and Steven know about him.
But now if we don't, but the crazy chart, are we gonna get another season of Moon Knight? Like
that's what we're talking about.
To explore that, right? Now to explore that. Now, I'm with you on the conversation. I'm just saying,
right.
That, like, that's the question I think that's on everybody's mind. Are we going to get another season? Will that season be, because Disney hasn't said anything. They're quiet. They're tight-lipped about the whole thing. And the way it ended, they ended it like, regardless of how long it takes, they shall return.
Right.
So,
they ended it on a to be continued style.
It was definitely to be continued. Yeah.
Well, what is known for sure is that Jake is still deeply connected with Khonshu. They're more in concert regarding as how to treat bad guys than Khonshu was with Mark or Steven. They said Mark and Steven are still totally unaware of his existence. We don't necessarily know, is he good? Is he evil? We know he's working for Khonshu. We know he has some sort of arrangement. And we know he is definitely more on board with Khonshu's worldview in terms of punishing evildoers. The question whether Jake and by extension Moon Knight is an ally or an enemy in potential season 2 is particularly exciting to the writer. He said everything is in service of the greater good, but is he going to be a friend? Is he an enemy? I think those are all really exciting questions for whoever takes up the reins, whoever gets to tell the next Moon Knight story, whether that's me or someone else. That is an exciting promise. This guy's story is definitely not done. And that's the writer from the first season. But he doesn't even know if he's going to be the writer on the second season yet.
Wow.
So that's how undecided they are still. But I'm sure, I think we all know they will most likely decide to greenlight a second season. In speaking with the crew that made Moon Knight possible, it's abundantly clear that Jake Lockley was always an important part of the hero's introduction to the MCU. Whether it was through, the subtle Easter eggs hidden in the footage or accidentally adding a nod to the character's existence, Jake's importance to Mark Spector's character only grows with each new reveal. As of now, there is no official confirmation that Moon Knight will move on to season 2, although there are a couple of small hints indicating that it's in the cards for the near future. Whenever that becomes a reality, though, Jake will be a character that fans will be looking for. Stars from season 1 have already teased the kind of impact that he'll have on the upcoming plot lines, particularly with his intense nature and penchant for killing without too much remorse or time for the time being. And taking into account that he's the only personality within Mark Spector that's still attached to Khonshu. The superhero side of the equation will be one that raises even more mystery going forward, because they cut ties with Khonshu, right? They were like, we're done with Khonshu, but Jake's still rocking with Khonshu, and that is, yeah, man, we it's just some troll Ace Spade. He said, who the hell is with all these naked request messages? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, bro, listen, nobody is interested. Right? No one except Slade. I will say Slade wants to know.
Slade
can go. Yeah, he can go find you wherever you're at, bro. But coming in here to advertise is just stupid. You're not gonna get. I understand what you're doing. You're trying to get business. You're not gonna get no business from here, bro. So take it elsewhere. We don't care. You're an annoyance. We don't like you. So you're just wasting your time, bud. But anyway, Spade, what's up, man? You want to hop in, man? You got the link.
Yeah, Spade, come on in, Spade. Come on, hang out for a little bit. Spade. You ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah,
and we got a decent conversation going on here. But anyway. Shout out to the people in the chat. In the chat, who would you like to see as a Thunderbolt? What Thunderbolt team would you like to see? Let us know in the chat.
Definitely.
So we can talk about it. Let us know who your favorite Thunderbolt members are. Just let us know, because me and Reno basically don't give a damn. We just want Thunderbolts, but we know some of you guys want some specific Thunderbolts. Right. And with that is going to come some great Marvel Legends collectibles with that. So what collectibles would you like to see Thunderbolt wise? Because I'd like a Red Hulk. I'd love it to have a Hulk. I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I'd love to have a Hulk.
I would love to have a Hulk.
Yeah, A-Bomb. I'd like to have an A-Bomb. That would be dope.
Yeah, A-Bomb's a good one.
Because I always ask the question, why haven't they never done? Because Hulk's had a couple of Savage Hulk's had a couple of TV shows, Marvel-wise already, and Marvel Legends never put those out.
Right.
They've never put those out as collectibles. We don't have an A-Bomb. We don't have a Hulk. We don't have a Savage Hulk. We don't have Scar. None of that. We don't have any of that.
Yeah. There's what was that show? It was
Carnage. Agents of Smash.
Yeah, the
Hulk
Smash.
Agents of Smash. Whoa, man. Whoa. Whoa, be careful now. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
I don't mean to offend. No, but I've seen Red Hulk figure. Yeah, there is a couple of Red Hulk figures.
Is there?
Yeah.
I need to, you need to send me a link, something, Channel East, because I need to try to get one, man.
Yeah. That's
Seriously.
Spade, by the way. You know
that's Spade.
Yeah,
Spade. I need this Spade. I need to see one, man. I literally need to see one.
I know they did one.
Was it decent though?
Yeah, there's a it was really good. There's a Marvel Legends one, I believe. I don't think it's a Build-A-Figure, but it could be. Let's find out. Red Hulk Marvel Legends. Yeah. You can get it for $100. It's a Marvel Legends.
That's it. I might as well buy Yamaguchi if I'm gonna spend $100. We'll wait for the next one.
It's a big one, yeah, and well, here's one for $58 if you get it without the box, and I don't give a shit about that box, so I buy that shit quick. $58. They also made a, and I don't know why anybody would want this, but they made a half green Hulk, half red Hulk Marvel Legends figure. Yeah, it's again, like I said, I don't know why anybody would want it, but.
Never know. Never know, Reno.
No, you never know.
People like what they like.
They like what they like.
Yeah.
But you never know what. Let's see. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever works, I'm down with it. Thunderbolts. Mango says, just give us the Thunderbolts. Black and Critical says, what are y'all reading currently?
I see Dark Crisis. Superman, Batman, World's Finest. I'm reading Batman Urban Legends. The last Batman Urban Legends I read was so freaking dope. It was pathetic, bro. Like
I love them. Yeah.
And I mean, it was good. Like, I mean, it blew me away. I literally read it twice. That's how good the last Batman Urban Legends was that I read.
Yeah, they're great. There's 3 stories in each one, right?
In each one. This last one had like 4.
3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's usually like 3. You're right. But this last one had one more extra story. Because they did an extra story, but they've been following Ace. Like Ace has his own quest each one.
It's like an ongoing story.
Right. Yeah, with him and a bunch of other animals are trying to escape. This guy's trying to sell them, and they capture Batman, and they're trying to auction off Batman to the highest bidder. And Ace has to save him, but he has to escape at the same time in order to do it. It's dope, man. If anybody I don't know who Ace is, that's Bat Dog.
That's the bat animal. Yeah, that's the dog.
It's Batman's dog. Superman got a dog. Batman has a dog. So, that's Rock right there. I've never seen that in the store anywhere.
That face sculpt is phenomenal.
Yeah, that is dope. I've never seen that anywhere. I would have bought that.
Yeah, I've never seen it in the store, but yeah, I've seen it a bunch of times on eBay and shit.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So this is the Marvel Legends just Hulk in a box. And then there is also a Build-A-Figure Red Hulk, which I guess came out in the past 2008. I don't like it near as much. That's not.
No, look how disproportionate it is.
I know. Look for a Build-A-Figure. It's way wrong.
Bigger. Yes, it's not good at all.
That's not right. That's not right. What is it?
No, they could have did a better job. Yeah.
I mean, for a Build-A-Figure, it's pretty underwhelming considering that.
What are they selling that for?
That's $60.
And then they want the regular one that's not a Build-A-Figure. They want $60.
This one, this guy wants 70 for it, but I've seen it for more, a lot more. That's one of the cheaper ones. Here's one for 84. This one, here's one for 69. Here's the green red I was telling you about, Compound Hulk.
Yeah,
I don't get it because it's not something that ever existed. I mean, it's 2 different people for one thing. Like Red Hulk and Green Hulk aren't the same. As far as I know, they've never fused in the comics, but I could be wrong. Green Hulk and Red Hulk fused to form Compound Hulk, a massive force powered by gamma radiation. Yeah, I don't know if they've done that in the comics or if that's just for the toy. I don't know, but
they probably have. I know.
It looks like I'm actually
bidding on a comic where Red Hulk had a Iron Man armor. So.
Oh yeah. Wait, didn't I send you that?
No, I wish you would have because I need one.
What do you mean you're bidding on it? They're a couple dollars. They're cheap.
Well, they are, but not for what I want to pay for it, man.
No, they're cheap, bro. Like really cheap.
You find it cheap when I'll buy it.
I got you, bro. See if they throw it up here. If I can find it. It's just I'm cheating. So this I used to have this actually, Hulk #1 with Red Hulk. I sold it foolishly, but yeah. I'm probably not gonna find it on here.
You might want to rebuy that.
Nah, I wouldn't rebuy it unless I could get it for cheap enough. Now, this is not a bad. Well, that's a bid. Oh, 0 bids, 2 days left. Actually, this might be a fucking. Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, told you.
This is a deal, bro.
How much they want for it?
They want $65.
That's a bit of jump on it. What's it normally going for?
A good 150. Well, here's one for 120. That's a 9.2 for 120.
I had to jump.
What?
Jump on it. What? What's going on? Talk to me.
Red Hulk 1 through 14 for only $149. I guess though that makes sense. I mean, you're really only paying for the first comic, but this is a great price. Okay, $65 for this book in near mint condition. I don't know that it's near mint. Looks decent, but it looks more like a 9.6. I see a couple of issues in the corners, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I may have to bid on that later. Yeah, keep that. But yeah, no, that comic you're talking about, dude, it's very cheap. Let me see. Red Hulk, Iron Patriot. I can't remember what the damn issue number is. Do you know offhand? This is it right here.
Issue number.
That's him.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. The one where he doesn't have the helmet on at the bottom, the right hand corner, or your left, my right. Yeah, that's it.
But I'm trying to figure out what issue that's from.
It's yeah, I'll tell you in a second. I got it written down here. I just got that one, Spider-Hulk.
Spider-Hulk.
It's a cover. Yeah, it's a cover. It's got a cover.
Mm-hmm. Why am I fucking looking at images? Dude, you don't know the name of it?
There was a variant cover. And it is. It is. I'll tell you one second. It's Avengers number. Avengers number 685.
684. Oh, is it 685? Okay. Yeah. I found it exactly as you found it right there. Avengers No Surrender.
684?
Yeah, it says 684. So let's see. Okay, 684 is where they first the first Immortal Hulk. So that's
685 wrong. 685 is when it's probably that's where the variant cover. It's probably variant cover for that. Yeah,
so there it is. Yeah, $4. $4.
Okay, I got to get that.
Yeah, so you $4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna even knock that right off as soon as we get off the show.
It's Avengers No Surrender Part 11, aka Marvel Legacy Avengers 685. Yeah.
Send me that link, please, sir. I mean, I'm bidding on one. It's not high. The bid's not high. It's only like maybe up to like maybe $10-12. But
$10-12.
Yeah.
Then here's one for $5.
Well, I can get one for $5, $6 with
Yeah, it's
shipping.
$4 right there. $8 with
Done.
shipping right here. Yeah.
Done. I get it. We up to 12 with free shipping. So that's what $3-4 more than what I'm up to right now. So
yeah. You don't wanna. Wait, what am I looking at over here?
That's all it really, that ain't too bad.
No, that's real good. This motherfucker over here. If I keep blocking the user, how does he keep coming back in?
Oh man, where's Diamond Onyx? She's the you made her the security.
Yeah, she ain't here.
You made her minister of security, right?
Slacking on us, yeah.
She's slacking on her pimping.
Yeah. Mango say he's reading Truth, Red, White, and Black. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I read that a couple times.
I want to read that, man. I really do. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, but I've never read it, man.
I mean, it's a great story. It's an awesome, cool ass story. I just wish they would have drawn it better. The art is just, bogus. But I don't think that they ever thought it was gonna be big. Maybe, because the art is just, it looks almost like doodles, like very poor, just doodles. I think this comic should have had top-notch art, like just fucking brutal, badass art, because it's a great story. And
now for everybody in the chat, one thing I've been reading, and I think it's phenomenal. It'll kind of piss you off when you're reading it, but it is good. DC versus vampires.
Yeah,
it's been great. It's been great. I have every issue. I got all the variant covers.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's been. There's 2 one-shots out. One is called Hunters, and the other is with Harley Quinn, and it's called I think it's called Prey. I'm not sure if it's Prey or it's DC Vampire something. I know you got Hunters and then you got Prey. I think it is, but I'm not sure.
I'm mostly reading like back like old stuff. Going back and reading old stuff, but of the new stuff that I'm reading, Sabretooth has his own comic, is good. The new Ghost Rider, which is there, Johnny Blaze is back, so I'm happy because I never really cared for the other Ghost Riders. Everything X-Men and Mutants, X-Force, Devil's Reign, X-Men. Devil's Reign is a really dope event that's going on right now. And you'll find Devil's Reign on almost every title has a Devil's Reign. Immortal X-Men. X-Men Unlimited. World's Finest is super dope. You've got Batman and Superman, and I haven't read past the first issue, but it's looking really cool. This is right here. I don't know why, but little thing to toss you guys' way. Major X. This is a comic you've probably never heard of. You probably won't. It's Rob Liefeld, and it is dope. And it's about a character, and look, there's Deadpool, Cable, Wolverine, right? All my favorite X-Men, mutants and shit. It's Cable and Deadpool, and it's really dope. I ain't gonna spoil it for y'all, but there's Old Man Cable. But it's a mini series. It's 0 through 6, so you can get the whole run for cheap.
Okay. Oh, DC Killers. They got Hunters and Killers. Killers. I think I don't know what that's all about, but we got 6 issues of. We're supposed to get, I think, 12, but we got 6 issues of DC, and then they just, I don't know. So I guess they'll pick up on it later on. But Hunters and Killers is dope.
This is a new Wolverine too. It's called Patch. It's a new Wolverine series.
Always Patch.
I'm digging it. It's so Patch is a character from the first Wolverine ongoing comic. He had a patch on his eye and he was known as Patch. And he's like a James Bond, very much a James Bond type character. You guys know Wolverine's been everything from a samurai to, he's done it all. Lived a long life. I think he's like 250 years old. But yeah, he was like a James Bond spy at one point. And it's just I think it's very well done. I'm digging it. But I'm a big Wolverine fan, so I'm biased. Yeah, Adam. Thanos Quest. Square bound. Big fat book. Super good. X-Men Red is super good. Check that out. That's a dope cover too.
Yeah, that is right. I like that.
I'm reading.
Covers came along. Covers come a long way, Reno, since back in the day.
The art period, yeah, the art period.
Yeah, the art period on the covers are like. Yeah, I'm reading Flashpoint now. I actually have to. They say I do have the latest issue where they say Batman solved the Flashpoint mystery, so I just haven't read it yet.
Shadow War is pretty good as well. That's
Shadow War is good. Yeah, Shadow War is really good.
Yeah, that's Shadow War.
Ghostmaker.
Shadow War Alpha right there, yeah. And World's Finest. So yeah, those are just the sort of the newer stuff that I'm reading, but older stuff I'm reading a lot of, and actually right now I'm reading Star Wars novels. I just finished the Bane trilogy for the second time, and I'm just starting the Thrawn trilogy for the first time. I actually have not read that yet, so I'm getting into that, and I'm rereading Old Republic Revan because they're finally bringing my favorite game back, Knights of the Old Republic.
I saw the trailers. Did you see the trailers?
Yeah, bro. Been watching that shit.
We should have debuted the new trailers. They're great. The one is really good. It talks about, like you were saying, how they take the Jedi when they're really young, and they show them taking a little girl from her parents when she was really, really young. Yeah. But then they showed us this Darth Revan used that against her. They her and her master are fighting him, and they almost get him, and then he uses that against her, and she loses focus. He kind of wins. He kind of wins on top of it with that.
Right.
But, yeah, the trailer is dope for the game. It's real dope.
Yes. Yeah, I can't fucking wait, dude. It's by far my favorite video game.
Okay.
Hands down. Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith something or other. They remastered that game and put it on console, and they're rebooting the first game, which is the one you're talking about with the trailers that are out. That's the first. That's Knights of the Old Republic 1. That's the one with Darth Revan and Malik and the whole thing. Which Revan is my favorite Star Wars character. Period. Darth Revan. Yeah, I've read 4 books. He's in all kinds of shit, dude. He's well established. They've actually made him canon by putting him in the sequel trilogy. His voice. Yeah.
Now, speaking of video games, Wu-Tang made a song for the secretly, I guess you could say, I ain't gonna even say secretly. They dropped a track for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Revenge of Shredder video game that just dropped this week on PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch Box, Series X, and PC. I listened to the track on YouTube because I haven't got that far in the game to listen to it. But somebody uploaded it to YouTube, and it was all right. It wasn't bad.
Have you started playing the game?
Yes.
Yeah, my son started playing it too. He said it's really cool.
If you go on there, man, and get it, you gotta play. We go on there and get it popping.
Yeah, my son's been
Turtle
playing it.
Power.
Yeah, it's kind of like a throwback to the old arcade game. The beat 'em up arcade game, side scroll beat 'em up. It's like Double Dragon. It's like Bad Dudes. It's a side scroll beat 'em up, just like the original Turtles game.
It's like the Turtles arcade game, Turtles in Time.
Yeah,
but it's just a new story. Plays like the old game, but a new story and a little bit better graphics. A little bit better.
Yeah.
Still got the same look and feel as the
style.
It's got the look and feel of the other game because and the reason why they did that, Reno, was because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time was so popular. It's the most popular game they've made to date, and they've had two fighting games. They had the regular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was big. But Turtles in Time was the biggest side-scrolling game you could go with.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done anything better than that.
And you had to go to the arcade to play it.
Yes.
Remember
the X-Men. Remember X-Men had one like that too.
Yeah.
The X-Men arcade game, which I actually own on PlayStation 3, which I wish they would bring to PlayStation 4 so I can play the shit. I can play it, man. Damn.
Yeah. You know what I'm playing? Ghost of Tsushima on PS4.
I love that game. I love that game, man.
I love that shit.
Listen, I love that game.
Samurai.
I tore that up.
Bro, they got a mode. They got a Kurosawa mode.
I seen that.
If y'all know, so Kurosawa is a guy that made samurai movies back in the day. The Magnificent Seven, like all the classic samurai films, black and white, right? Back in the day, fucking amazing. And the game has a mode where if you turn on the mode, it just changes everything to black and white.
Like
a grainy film, sort of,
8 millimeter. It makes it look like an 8 millimeter camera shooting it.
And it's even got like little sounds that like the film popping. It's fucking cool. But that game is like it's like being in a samurai movie. It's like that's what it is. I mean, beautiful landscapes, scenery, and the fighting is not like button mashing. You gotta like time your moves, like block and parry at the right time and counter and shit. It's fucking dope. I love that shit. But that's what I'm playing right now. But that Turtles game was dope. But Wu-Tang Clan, specifically Ghostface and Raekwon, my favorite too. Adrian Marie said, we knew that for the soundtrack of the Turtles, we wanted to have guests. We wanted to have big guest stars because it makes sense for the project, and we wanted to raise the bar. Adding to what we have already been doing, we have a lot of different artists and guest stars, but we wanted to go further into mainstream music. We also were thinking about the fact that TMNT and hip-hop makes sense. A deep part of our perception is that it's very anchored in there. It's in the TMNT DNA to have something hip hop. So we're thinking about hip hop artists, and it's New York. So we didn't want to have any West Coast artists. So our thought process was that we need to have East Coast hip hop artists from the 90s, and the Wu-Tang Clan was at the top of that list. Goddamn right. Goddamn right.
That goes to show you.
Of course.
I mean, it wasn't Little Dirk, was it? Wasn't the baby, was it?
Nah.
When Yeezy, and no disrespect to nobody, but it was Wu-Tang Clan.
It was.
Goes to show you something.
Shows to go you. Of course, the Wu-Tang, clan was formed at Staten Island, but there are a few people in music that better represent New York than them. So having Ghostface and Raekwon involved in the game was an obvious decision. So much of Shredder's Revenge is about capturing the original spirit of the Turtles that many people grew up on in the 80s and 90s, from having a new rendition of the original theme song playing in the opening cinematic to the entire game style. It's a trip down memory lane for everyone involved. I'm loving these. Are you a fan of the? Because I'm like gaming recently is doing a lot of really cool throwbacks to 90s gaming, like with like side scroll 2D games and shit like that they're making new, and that's something that is new to the industry.
Fun.
I love it.
They're fun, Reno. They're fun, Reno.
They're just fucking
fun. For a long time, the video game world was oversaturated with first-person shooters.
Yeah, I guess it was all about graphics.
Right. We're tired of first person shooters. We like them, but it's just too many of them out there. And then they forgot about certain genres of games that people just like to pick up and play. Then
Side
you got
scroll.
the competitive multiplayer where everything had to have a multi. If it didn't have a multiplayer,
Or you
so
couldn't even play it unless you hooked it up to the internet. Like they come on.
right. I mean, get back to core of what gaming is all about: having fun and giving us what we like Turtles. We need a new X-Men game.
You know what's a
Just
great
like the
one? The
Turtles.
Messenger, bro.
I haven't played this. I've heard of it, seen it,
Oh.
watched the trailer. I haven't played it.
If you liked Ninja Gaiden back in the day, it is an improved Ninja Gaiden because I was a super Ninja Gaiden fan, but one of the hardest fucking games
Yeah, I
Nintendo
was
ever
going to say
made.
Ninja Game was hard, bro. It was
Incredibly hard.
hard. I couldn't. Yeah, it was
And it
hard.
was
I beat
mostly
it, but
hard
it was hard.
because of the
Just
but it was
jumping.
mostly hard because of the abilities that they had back then to make games. Like the sort of like the technology, and that's what made it hard was like glitching, enemies reappearing in weird places, and like it just was just really not fun for the player in a lot of ways, but so cool and such a challenge. And it's ninjas, and it was the 80s, and like that was just ninjas in the 80s go together like peanut butter and jelly. And
You gotta have a ninja, and you gotta have ninja magic.
ninja
If you're a ninja,
magic,
because
so
ninjas
they
have ninja magic,
that's right, shinobi and
and
shit,
nothing can,
like you had
and nothing
shinobi.
beats ninja. Yeah, nothing beats ninja magic. We had Revenge of the Ninja. We
Mhm.
had Ninja 3 to Domination. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
We had a bunch of ninjas. We had Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. They were ninjas. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
It
It's
was
just
ninja.
something
It was
about
ninja out.
yeah. That
But
was Ninja Mania. Yeah.
there's a new game. It's called The Messenger, and it's a total throwback to Ninja Gaiden. I mean, it looks like Ninja Gaiden, plays similar to Ninja Gaiden, but like we said, updated graphics. It's still 2D. It's still side scroll, but the graphics and the polygons are so small and everything, and the pixelation is so small that they can get really detailed, and it just makes it really cool looking. Um, Jamila Quinn Edwards, yes, we do need a new Wu-Tang game. And
Yeah.
there is
Peace to Jamal Cornelius. Yeah, we do
yeah,
need a new Wu-Tang game.
yeah.
I did agree with him. The last one was dope, and then
It was.
it had a cult following.
It's fun.
Like
It
it
had a
didn't do
cult.
bad.
No.
Yeah, it did not do bad.
Wasn't it on like the first PlayStation or
Yes, it
Dreamcast or
was.
something?
It was on the
Yeah,
first,
it
it
was
was on the
back then.
first PlayStation. And
Yeah.
then that was it. We got that. Not a sequel, nothing.
No,
It was
just
dope.
it wasn't like a fully completed, fleshed out game or anything. I mean, they just threw it together because it was Wu-Tang. I mean, but yeah, it was dope because it was Wu-Tang.
I think they put a little more work into it than that. I kind of liked that joint, man.
Well,
It was all right. Man. I
yeah, it
wasn't
was. It
disappointed
was.
in it.
But it didn't age well because I've looked at it again recently, and it
Oh
didn't
yeah.
age well.
Well, you gotta think
But
we were using polygons. We didn't have Unreal Engine.
yeah, yeah.
You
No,
could
we didn't.
actually do Unreal Engine is phenomenal, bro. I mean,
Oh yeah,
listen, Unreal Engine 5 right now. I
beautiful.
implore everybody to go on and just look at some of the stuff they're doing with Unreal Engine 5 and just note that when developers, get a hold of when they do their thing with it, it's gonna be even better. These are just amateurs doing their
Yeah,
thing with it until a crew, not one person, but a crew of developers get a hold of it and give you a game, a new Grand Theft Auto, uh, which we're definitely gonna get on Unreal Engine 5.
yes,
Plus the old Grand Theft Auto, because Rocksteady just makes money hand over fist on Grand Theft Auto.
yeah.
You
They're
know,
always
get that. Why
yeah.
everybody? I know people that have bought Grand Theft Auto 3 or 4 times. Not me. But
Yeah, GTA 5
yes,
was great,
we do
bro.
need to.
My favorite
And
is
they're gonna
still
do
the
it, and they're gonna do it,
West Coast.
and they're gonna do an Unreal Engine 5 version of
Yeah,
GTA 5. It's coming.
it's gonna look real. It's gonna look like real life, and that's the
It will.
crazy.
It definitely will.
We used to talk about that, like when we were kids in the 80s and 90s. We were like, man, one day it's just gonna be like playing a movie, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a real movie.
because remember, Rita, you would buy a game, you look at the box art, You'd be like, yo, that's dope. And then you go play the
A lot
game,
of
it was like you
imagination went into
pixels.
playing those games.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And then you hit the pixels,
You
you'd be like, man.
like
It
a
was still
little
fun to play, but you wanted it to look like the box art.
yeah, not even close. Yeah,
Not nowhere near.
you'd get the box. Like I remember, like we used to buy the game, and the first thing I would do is take out the little instruction manual, and I'd be reading that shit, and like in the car on the way home from Toys R Us or whatever, getting a new game and shit. And that was a lot. It was like a lot of imagination went into playing those games because you had to use your imagination to make what they put on that screen look like what it's supposed
was
to
on the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like, man, that's what it really looked like. But you'll play it anyway.
Yeah. Because I went back and looked at games from my childhood, and I'm like, I do not remember it looking like this. Like in my head, it looks so much better than it does. I don't know if you guys have done that. If you're in our age group and you grew up in the 80s and 90s, go back and play or look at some of them games that you used to love, and I guarantee you it will be a fuckload lot worse than you remember it being.
It's true.
Yeah, true. It's something about the way we remember it, and like the way because of the way that we imagined while we were playing it. Like you had to use your imagination, so that shit sticks in your head as the memory of how the game looked, and it does not look like that. It does not. It's bad.
It is.
But yo, we were just talking about what everybody's reading in comicdom and all of that. So I want to run over the 10 this is the 10 90s Marvel comics that everyone should read at least once. This is a really cool and they start at number 10 off the bat. I got to agree. 1991 saw the Mad Titan Thanos wield the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, goes without saying, right? Spanning 6 issues with several tie-ins. The Infinity Gauntlet was written by Jim Starlin with art by George Perez, God rest the dead, and Ron Lim. The series brought together heroes and villains from across the universe to deal with the greatest threat they'd ever faced, to demonstrate his love for Mistress Death, right? It had nothing to do with him wanting to do good for the galaxy and create, population control. He just wanted to impress Mistress Death with all the death he could create. And Thanos decides to collect the 6 Infinity Gems. And with the gems, Thanos hopes to balance the scales of life and death for his beloved. Unfortunately, this power elevates him far above Mistress Death, which means that they may never be together. Enraged, Thanos lashes out with his power of the Infinity Gauntlet and erases half of all living beings in the universe. You can't beat it.
No.
Number 9 on the list, 1991 again, Weapon X explored the brutal origins of Wolverine. And appearing in, I think I have these. Yeah, check these out. So, yeah, I've got the books to it too.
Okay.
This is the Weapon X, the whole joint right here. It's the whole joint. Marvel Comics presents issues 72 through 84. The Weapon X storyline from Barry Windsor Smith reveals a critical event in the long and uncertain history of the mutant Wolverine, also known as Logan. The part of the top secret Canadian military project, the Weapon X program captures and experiments on Logan, hoping to create a highly lethal super soldier. We all know the story. What you might not know is it was told in the Marvel Comics Presents format, which is each comic is a anthology. So there's 3 stories in each comic, much like the Batman we were just talking about, Urban Legends. So yeah, so the first half of all these issues is the Weapon X story, and then there's 2 other stories. Like there's an Iron Man one in this one. There's a cool X-Men one. There's some Hulk ones. So there's also a lot of really cool stories in these comics. So I definitely agree. This is a series that everybody should definitely read, no matter what era you're from the 90s, because
I agree with that as well.
It's got so much to offer.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah. And it says the first and last issues of the series are told from Logan's perspective as he relates his life before and after these events. However, most of the story is a horror tale told by the head science team as they create an attempt to escape an unstoppable killing machine. And that's true. It is very much a horror comic. It's you know what I'm saying? It's not like an X-Men comic. It's not like most other comics. It's definitely got a dark tone. It's super good. And then we jump to number 8. Oh fuck. You know what?
Time Traveling Mutant Cable. Yeah. I never read that, but I've always wanted to.
I forgot to show y'all. The last, so this is the book that we're talking about right here. But I forgot to show y'all this on our last show. My boy Masher hooked me up for my birthday with this Cable #1 signed by Stan Lee.
Yeah, that's dope.
And certificate of authenticity, the whole thing. Yeah, bro. This is official right here, man. Official. Cable #1 signed by Stan Lee. Shout out to my man Masher, who's been on this show a couple times. My brother from another mother. Yeah.
I've never read those, Reno. I've never read the Cable. Yeah, I never read the Cable joints. Not those, the one with the that they're talking about the story arc. Never read that.
Yeah, and there's been a few. I mean, he started off in New Mutants, and then he moved to X-Men or X-Force. Sorry,
X-Force.
And he's got his own solo series. He's got a few of them actually on my wall there. I've got New Mutants number 87, his first appearance. Then X-Force #1.
They got a series with Deadpool.
He's got Cable and Deadpool. He's got 2 Cable solo series. So yeah, I've got all the Cable shit right there. He's got a new one. He's got 2 new ones. He's got one where they made him a kid that was really a horrible idea. It sucked. And then so they brought him back. Yeah, this was just a couple of years ago. And then they just recently brought him back. The old gritty old bastard Cable that we all love is back. But this one, yeah, written by Fabian Nicieza, art by John Romita Jr. And Dan Green. Cable, Blood, and Metal is a 2-issue miniseries. All right, it's only 1 and 2. That introduces readers to the mutant known as Cable and his evil clone Strife. With big muscles, bigger guns, and an AI-driven time ship, and more storage pouches than a mob of kangaroos, this series epitomizes its intense, over-the-top action style of 90s comics. And that is true. 90s comics were over-the-top, action, big guns, big bad guys, and just very little story, a whole lot of action. The child of Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor, young Nathan was carried to the far future to cure the techno-organic virus he'd been infected with in our time. The procedure saved his life, but resulted in the creation of his clone, Strife, soon to become Cable's greatest nemesis and a really bad motherfucker. Because Cable is one of the most powerful mutants ever to live, but he's not able to act upon his powers because his powers are of telekinesis and psychic ability are being used 24/7 by him to keep the techno-organic virus at bay, to keep it from taking over his whole body. So it's just taking over his arm and he's got the eye. But if he didn't keep it in check with his telekinesis, it would just quickly take over his whole body and kill him. So he's constantly routing his powers to that. So he's not able to use his powers in fighting. So he's got all the guns and tech and cool shit. His clone, Strife, does not have the techno-organic virus problem. So he's able to use the abilities that Cable has but can't use. So he's like the ultimate bad motherfucker.
Right. And Cable's also kind of like put together.
He's like what?
Weapons. Forge. He's always been kind of like Forge too, in a way.
Yeah. Because
Where
Forge,
some of the
Forge
weapons he's
makes the
some of the weapons he's yeah
yeah.
Forge make, whereas in Cable can put together some hellified stuff that'll really cook your goose, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. I did have this comic too. I wonder if I still do. It's got a die cut thing. So 1992, we're on a reimagined Punisher redefines a genre. Created by Jerry Conway and John Romita Sr., the Punisher first appeared in 1974 as an antagonist of Spider-Man. He was actually a Spider-Man villain. That's how he started.
Yes, he did.
Over the next several years, the vigilante, also known as Frank Castle, would make readers question their understanding of what a hero is meant to be. Beginning in 1992, Punisher Warzone Volume 1 ran for 41 issues. Is also the title of my favorite Punisher movie. Warzone is the only one that really got it right.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Warzone. The comic is dope. I used to love reading that comic. I read a lot of Warzone. I can't lie and say I did.
Yeah, I thought I had it, but it's somewhere else. But yeah, I had that one, and it's cool. It's a die cut cover, so you can see right there where the red is sort of cut by a You see the skull in the background behind the red. So the comic itself has like a cardstock cover, and it's got a cutout. So when you open the cover, it's got a hole in it, and there's like the cover behind the cover. But yeah, so though many writers contributed to the series, it was John Romita Jr.'s graphic visuals that stuck in the minds of fans. The series explored the origins of Frank Castle, including how it wasn't just the loss of his family that led to the evolution of such a brutal and vicious killer. So definitely, I agree there. You definitely want to check that out. It's number 6. Spider-Man faces his most deadly foe ever in 1993. This is where I was brought into comics. This is my age. I was 19. It was 1993. I was probably 13 years old. This is where I really started buying comic books. Was Maximum Carnage. The summer of 1993, one of the biggest and most highly promoted comic book events in history, released over 4 months and 14 issues. Spider-Man Maximum Carnage was preceded by the biggest marketing push many comic fans had ever seen. A year before, David Michelin and Mark Bagley introduced the Spider-Verse to the villainous Carnage, who was the offspring of the Venom symbiote merged with a serial murderer, Cletus Cassidy. In Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man had to team up with Venom to stop Carnage and his family of villains from continuing their murderous rampage across New York City. So, yeah, it's what brought me into comics. It was great.
I read that series. I still have those comics.
Yeah.
I got all of them. I think I should. At that time, I was reading that at Age of Apocalypse.
Yes.
But those two, that Maximum Carnage, that was dope. They're all right about that. It was heavily publicized, and they even had a video game. They had a video game and everything on Super Nintendo.
Maximum Carnage game, yeah, had that shit too. I was reading this and Spawn. This is when Spawn came out as well. And I was in the grocery store in the shopping, getting ready to check out at the grocery store. And they used to have comic books in there where we see the Inquirer and the magazines and shit today. There used to be comics. And I'd seen fucking, Spawn. And I was like blown away by that cover, by the character, his design. I mean, I was just like, this is what I've been looking for. Image Comics was everything because I was an artist, and Image heavily relied on their art for their books. Spade, what's good, my man?
What's going on?
What's up?
Welcome, Spade, to the roster, gentlemen. So we just on here talking about the 10 comics that every comic or the 10 comics from the 90s that fans all should read. Or comic 10 comic storylines, I should say, because most of these are not single issues that they're giving us here. But
especially Maximum Carnage.
Yeah, Maximum Carnage. I mean, they gave us the two they gave us this whole 41 issues of Warzone. They gave us the 2 issues of Cable here. They gave us the 12 issues of Weapon X. and the entire Infinity Gauntlet run. So yeah, these are more like the 10 storylines we should all read from the 90s. But so okay, so we've covered those. We're down to number 5, which 1993's Daredevil Without Fear. I agree 100%. This was great. Written by the legendary Frank Miller, illustrated by John Romita Jr. Daredevil, the Man Without Fear is a 5-issue series that serves as the quintessential Matthew Murdock story. During the time in history, sorry, let me get this thing out the way. During a time the industry was overwrought with edginess and big explosions, this series focused on honest, character-driven storytelling. Like we said, yes,
and that was probably the most I've ever read Daredevil.
Yeah, that and Chip Zdarsky's current run is beautiful. Now, like we said earlier, the 90s were all about guns, action, explosion, big characters, shit blowing up, crazy futuristic shit, foil covers, the whole 9. Daredevil kept the foil cover thing because they did give us some foil covers in this series, but they definitely did not join in on the big flashy guns and explosions. This was definitely a story-driven series about a guy who doesn't use guns. He's quiet, so definitely was different for what was going on at the time, and that made it stick out. And readers were introduced to some of Daredevil's most timeless friends and foes. As a result, they witnessed the ways each of the relationships influenced the trajectory of Murdock's life, from his childhood raised by a single father to becoming the devil of Hell's Kitchen. This series explores the pain, loss, grief, and eventual triumph that is Daredevil. So yeah, I agree.
Nice.
Okay, so number 4. 1993 again saw a new title and a new direction for the Uncanny X-Men. In the early 90s, Marvel launched X-Men Volume 2 to complement the long-running Uncanny X-Men title. Initially, the new series followed the Blue Team led by Cyclops, while Storm's Gold Team featured in Uncanny X-Men. Helmed by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee, X-Men Volume 2 became one of the best-selling comic books of its time and of all time. Yeah. Out of all the X-Men comics from the 60s onto the 80s and 90s, the one that I collect is this one, the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont. In my opinion, it's the best one. You got the first appearance of Omega Red in this one, right in issue 4. This was a great series. Jim Lee is probably my favorite comic artist because his style is just so, and I don't know if it's because of the era, like it's just what I was into, but it just so hits with the style of the way I sort of picture superheroes. Like like Batman, the Jim Lee Batman, my favorite, hands down. The Jim Lee X-Men, my favorite, and these are my favorite characters.
I'll say the Jim Lee DC anything was bomb for me. I just like his art style. Yeah, Jim Lee anything. Yeah. Jim Lee's art style was very, very. We got Todd McFarlane, and when we got Todd McFarlane and the way he drew things, he actually redefined the whole comic book industry.
Yeah. Him and Jim Lee and Rob
Jim
Liefeld.
Lee came, right. Then Jim Lee came and he started drawing, and it wasn't the way he drew, it was the way he redefined their costumes. Like it was just little things that he did that brought him out even more. So like you would look at a Jim Lee drawing a Superman, and then you look at somebody else's drawing, so you'd be like, that's nice. But you look at the Jim Lee one, you'd be like, damn, like wow, like Superman really looked right. Yeah, he'd be like, Superman really look real dope on this joint right here. So it's just the way I wouldn't say it was the way his art style is unique, and it is very definitive, but it's not just the way, it's not just his art, it's the way he drew their costumes. He changed little things on their costumes that made them so unique that you would look at it and be like, man, it was just dope to see, man. And it still is, and he still does that even now. puts his own little
do
twist.
like double and triple takes to look at it real thoroughly, because a lot of times, people might skim over it and miss that little subtle difference in how Jim Lee draws a costume and how it was drawn before.
Right. That's the idea, Slade. Yeah. But yeah, for me, it's his art style. It's the way he draws.
Yeah.
The bodies and the faces and all of that.
Then, like we were saying, like like he doesn't change their look from what they traditionally look like, or their hairstyles, or anything like that. It's the costume. It's just the details in the costume that he puts into it that you're like, damn, look at that, man. Like it's just like Space said, it's just little details that you'll miss if you don't really look at it.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's some great art right there.
That's comics to me, man.
And for everybody who don't know, comics back then in the 90s, before the turn of the year, we actually had real paper.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't glossy. It was actual newspaper.
Yes.
But
look how he draws Wolverine. I mean, just look at that.
That's just killer, man.
Super dope.
And even Xavier and Cyclops and Jean, like the way he draws them too, is like, it pops.
It does.
It does.
Like,
now look at Cyclops. He was the one who came out with that look for Cyclops right there.
Ooh,
just hanging out at the pool and shit. Like he could make a barbecue pool scene look dope.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Look at that. I love his Beast. I love his iteration of Beast, because we've got a lot of different Beasts. Like Grant Morrison's Beast, I can't stand. It looks like a cat. He looks like he's got the cat face with like the cat nose and the cat. Like, I don't like the cat Beast. I like Jim Lee's Beast, where he's not.
That version of Beast remind me of when Michael Jackson turned into the werewolf in Thriller.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that the cat Beast just doesn't hit. Why don't you think Milestone did as well as Marvel and DC? I think it's from, and you guys can answer this too, but for me, I think it's budget. I don't think they got the money behind them.
I definitely got the answer for that. Milestone did do as well as Marvel and DC. The problem was it did so well, DC bought it, and then they shelved it to keep it from overshadowing them. In a nutshell, Milestone was very big. People supported it, just like they supported Image when it came out, because at the time when Milestone erupted, we were looking for something new. All of us, just like we were looking for something new when Image jumped on the scene, and we embraced it. DC, they tricked us and told us, "Oh, it's so great that we're going to invest in it. And then we're going to take it, we're going to add the Dakotaverse to the DC verse, and we're going to make it one big universe, and we're going to have Superman versus Icon, and they're going to team up as well, and we're going to do some good stuff." And they did the first part. Phase 1, they bought it, and they phased it in.
One team up, or one crossover. That was it.
One crossover. That was it. And then next thing you know, crickets. They shelved it.
Fade into obscurity.
They just shelved it.
So that's kind of what I said. They didn't put anything. They didn't push it. They didn't put no money behind it. When DC bought it, they didn't pump it. They didn't utilize it. I mean, that's really the only reason. It would have done. It would have been huge.
Yeah, and here's a good analogy. I think Reno liked this one. They did to Milestone what Disney did to Star Wars. They bought it and didn't really do anything with it.
They had no intentions of
making it great. Of making it great again.
Yeah.
That's like when Vince McMahon bought WCW in 2001 and did nothing with it. Same thing. Like, you have these big companies like that may buy something, or the competition, or something slightly smaller but not much smaller. Oh, we're gonna do this, and this, and you don't see squat from it.
Right. Exactly.
Look at that.
That is so wicked. That is Magneto.
That's hard. Who drew that?
This is Magneto pulling the adamantium out of Wolverine's bones.
Ooh.
So that's what that is coming out of him. But I don't know who did this, but This we're talking about was number 4 of what you should read, right, from the 90s, and it's 1993's Fatal Attraction, one of the many X-title crossover events. Saw the long-running conflict between X-Men's Xavier's X-Men and Magneto's acolytes come to a stunning climax. The aftermath of the battle resulted in several members leaving their respective teams. This included a disillusioned Colossus and Wolverine, the latter of which was still reeling from having the adamantium ripped from his skeleton. And so Wolverine did not have adamantium after this. So yeah, that's a very big event and very important. And yeah, I gotta recommend it. And this is the art that for some reason isn't showing up on their page, but that's Magneto taking the adamantium off Wolverine's bones. And number 3, we're getting down to. All right, thank you, McAfee. We're getting down to 1994. Marvel's relived the golden age with stunning effect in 1994. And this was a really cool, like, the way they made the comics. Like, they had a clear plastic cover and like these really cool like paintings, like professional artistic paintings of the characters,
like Alex Ross, like an Alex Ross type,
right? Which we weren't getting at the time. So this was a big. We were getting, comic stuff. We weren't getting these kind of like Alex Ross or real paintings. But written by Kurt Busiek with the breathtaking art of Alex Ross, the 4-issue miniseries Marvels explores what life in a world of superheroes would look like, set between 1939 and 1974. The series follows photojournalist Phil Sheldon as he encounters the Golden Age's greatest heroes. His journey shows how someone like Phil might adapt to the new world the heroes have created. Ross's painted panels were developed into a series of prints and collectible cards and remain some of the most beautiful and visceral imaginings of these famous characters. The overarching theme of living in a world of superheroes has been revisited many times over the years in print, television, and film. So that's what's really big about this series. It's the first time we really got to see, which we see it now all the time in The Boys, in Watchmen.
Yeah.
So many different like shows. Invincible. Right. That like, what if heroes really existed in the real world? They like, instead of, because before that it was just like heroes are in the world and it's normal and people know about it and it's just something that it's not thought of twice. But these iterations, it's like, what if we in our world really just superheroes just came into our world, like, or they were in our world? How would it really be? You know what I mean? What would it really be like? And so that's what this is, like, a landmark for kind of starting that. And like The Boys, by the way, I've been watching. Super good, super weird, just super wow. Yeah. But
yeah, I haven't got a chance to watch it. Everybody keeps talking about it.
It's like, what if you haven't? Have you watched any of it?
Yeah, I watched the whole first season. I watched the whole first season. Okay. I watched the first season. I just haven't watched the second season yet.
Or the third one.
I mean, third one. Yeah, I watched the first. I watched the second one. It's the newest season I haven't watched yet. Whatever
I haven't watched 3 yet either. I watched the first 2.
Yeah, I watched the first 2.
Well, let me tell y'all. If you thought seasons 1 and 2 were like brutal, nothing.
Damn.
Nothing.
Damn.
Bro, it's I want to tell you guys about this one scene that's in the beginning, but in the first episode, but I don't want to ruin it for you. And when you see it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is what Reno was talking about." God damn.
Well, you can ruin it for me because I read the comics. You can ruin it for me because I read the comics.
I don't even want to say this shit out loud, dog. I don't even want to say this shit out loud.
It's nothing that can surprise me. Right, it's nothing that can surprise me because I read the comics.
If anyone in the chat has seen this show, you know what I'm dealing with right now. You know what I'm talking about. So, all right, you want it? You want to know? All right, here we go.
Let's rock it, baby.
So they have a character that's sort of their version of Ant-Man. He can shrink real tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, how do I say this? All right. He's in a gay sex scene, and he shrinks down to his tiny form because his partner wants him to crawl inside his penis hole.
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if a woman wrote this or what, but any man knows that is an exit only hole.
Yeah.
Nothing going in there feels good. If you've ever had like STD tests, or doctor ever had to put a fucking Q-tip in there, like, wow.
Catheter.
I don't know why they thought this would be
a catheter would probably be the best. That'd probably be the best analogy you can give anybody.
Right.
You gotta get
Anyway,
catheter.
goes pain.
It is not pleasurable. So I don't know what they were getting at with why this guy would want him doing it. So he shrinks down, goes in the guy's penis, and he's like touching the inside of the urethral walls, and the guy's for some reason liking it. Again, fucking weird, but I don't know why they thought this would be pleasurable. But anyway, so this is not so he sneezes, and when he sneezes, he becomes full size again and just like explodes the guy from the inside out. And they show this very graphically.
Yeah.
A guy walks in kind of like right after, and then the little mini guy, runs across the room and starts throwing him around, and it's crazy. But yeah, bro, we're going in. And when I say, I mean graphically, like they show it, like
everything. Yeah.
There's nothing is left to the imagination at all. I mean, they show every bit of it. And it's just, that's episode 1. So
Wow.
you know where they're going. Like it gets only worse or better, however however you want to take it. But yeah, The Boys, I do want to cover that show on this channel because it is also really well made. Like it's very entertaining. It's gives me the vibe almost of like Peacemaker. It's kind of like that. But you guys have seen season 1 and 2, so you know what the show is like. But I just think season 3 just sort of steps it up. It's like Fast and Furious. Every movie's got to top the last one. So yeah, they definitely tried to top the last 2 with this one, and I think they did it. So number 2 on the list, and this I think Stu would know because he loved this one, and I loved it too. It's great. It is the 1995 When Are the X-Men No Longer the X-Men? Professor Charles Xavier and his X-Men have sought the peaceful coexistence of mutants and humankind for decades, often coming into conflict with Magneto's agenda of mutant supremacy. When Xavier's son, the psychotic mutant Legion, travels back in time to defeat Magneto, he accidentally kills his father instead. This results in the creation of a disturbing alternate timeline. Xavier gone and the X-Men reeling, the villainous Apocalypse seizes the opportunity to conquer Earth. It falls to Magneto to honor his one-time friend's memory and legacy by reuniting the X-Men under his leadership. Age of Apocalypse features many new versions of many popular characters, drastically altering the idea of the X-Men. You can see it by the art here. They've reimagined the look of many of the characters, most of the characters.
Yeah.
They've created new versions.
They did.
Some good guys are bad guys. Some bad guys are good guys.
Wolverine had one hand. Scott Summers had one eye.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
a lot went on.
A lot went on, and it's a separate timeline from the 616. It's not the normal continuity. It's a separate universe. But I still think it's important. It's still important. There's still a lot of stuff in the Apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse. Let's see. Slade says, I read those X-Men comics and they were so damn cool. And that's it. They were cool. And that was, I guess, again, that's that 90s vibe of comics, things just being really cool, really,
That was a good
visually.
story. That was a good storyline.
It was.
I really loved that storyline. I really thought it was really creative. And at the time, for me, X-Men has always been hit or miss. But that storyline right there, it really drew me in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really good one for you guys to pick up too. It is Age of Apocalypse, X-Force, from the X-Force joint. I think it's a 6-issue miniseries. That's issues 1, 2, and 3. This is issue 4 and 5. It's a 5-issue miniseries. But what I really dug about this is the art. I really love it when the art in comics complements the writing, because so often there's great writing and the art sucks. Like we were just talking about with Isaiah Bradley. Great story, art is whack, but look at the art in these books. It's kind of, I don't know, there's just a good example. So it's like a sort of realistic-y vibe, and just really quality, just not cartoony at all. Which cartoony art in comics, sometimes it's good. I mean, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's really cool. Sometimes it works. But like I just dig like that sort of I don't know, it just gives it a more serious tone, Yeah, like check that shit out. Oh.
Yeah, that's dope.
That is dope.
That I can get with.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, but this is good. It's called From the Pages of X-Force, Age of Apocalypse. But yeah, that's number 2 on their list of comics from the 90s everybody should read. And their number 1 comic or series that they think everybody should read, The Greatest Marvel Heroes Are Reborn, for a new audience in 1996. One of the biggest changes to the comics industry was the formation of Image Comics in the early 90s. 7 of the biggest talents to work at Marvel left to form their own competing studio. This was made even more controversial when in 1996, Marvel enlisted 2 of Image's founders to revise some of Marvel's older properties for a new generation of readers. Many of the original characters from the Avengers and Fantastic Four series were lost during the battle with the evil Xavier Magneto hybrid Onslaught. Instead of being killed, they were transported to a pocket universe created by the Omega level Franklin Richards, Mr. Fantastic's son and the most powerful mutant to ever exist. In this alternate dimension, the characters received new origins and fresh looks. I don't know. It was cool. I wouldn't have put it at number 1. I do think that though it's worth reading and checking out.
I wouldn't have put it in the top 10.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have put it in the top 10 either.
Yeah,
I'm like you, it was worth. It might have been worth reading and checking out. And I've read some Heroes Reborn. I didn't read it back then when I was more into reading,
right?
But I did read it into my adulthood, and I was just like, it kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Right.
I don't know. It was just different. I was like, I couldn't really get up on it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it's a cool sort of event that happened. It's something that if you want to sort of cover all the bases and know everything about comics, it's important to know. But again, I wouldn't have put it in the top 10. Or if I did, it would be probably number 10.
And this is one I feel like they left off. And that would really turn me into a X-Men fan right there.
Yeah, this was, like I was saying, Jim Lee's X-Men. This is what I'm talking about. This is Jim Lee's X-Men at its best.
Mm-hmm.
I even had this as my computer desktop for a while. This is just fucking dope. Gambit looks fucking cooler than ever. Yeah, bro. Beast, like I said, Beast, the Beast iteration is phenomenal. Yeah, it's fucking dope, dude. But yeah, they're saying here X-Men are one of the biggest franchise pop culture, vastly overshadowing most Marvel properties that aren't the Avengers or Spider-Man. A massive reason for this is the groundwork laid in the 90s. For the comics industry, there were dizzying highs and terrifying lows, but one property remained steady during the tumultuous time, X-Men.
Yep.
Yeah. And like they say here, X-Men cartoon brought the team into the homes of kids who didn't read comics. So
that's true.
Yeah, and this was I did read comics, but this was sort of what made me an X-Men superfan.
Right.
In the 90s, superheroes weren't the cultural juggernaut that they were today, but they did make appearances outside of the comic stores and spinner racks. Cartoons were a place where superheroes thrived, and X-Men quickly became one of the biggest of its kind. Every Saturday morning, kids gathered around the TV to see the comic-inspired adventures of their favorite mutants. X-Men was a much better getaway to comics than modern superhero movies and TV shows because it did a great job of adapting a lot of classic comic stories. It also made sure that a whole generation of children grew up loving the team, something that would pay off when the X-Men films began rolling out. But one thing they mention here, and this is what I said before, this show, what made it great and what it was about was adapting comic stories to animation. It wasn't about creating new stories and making new characters up and all of this shit. It was about adapting comic stories to animation.
Mm-hmm.
So when they reboot it or when they continue it, it's called X-Men 97, I think, the cartoon that's going to be coming at some point. I hope that they remember that. I hope that's what they understand that this cartoon was about. It wasn't just a X-Men cartoon. Get out of here. It wasn't just an X-Men cartoon, right? You know, because they could any X-Men cartoon, but it was because they adapted comic stories. So I hope that they do that and they just adapt comic stories. Now, whether they continue the timeline and adapt stories from that time, or they start adapting Hickman's House of X, Powers of X, Krakoa, all the shit that's going on in the comics with X-Men now, I'd be fine with, dude. Do X of Swords, like do any of the cool comic stuff that's come out of House of X. Do House of X, Powers of X. That storyline right there would make a great, 7th season or whatever it is. But that's what they've got to do. They have to stick to the comics. This is what this particular cartoon is about. What are they saying here? Number 9, there were more ongoing X-Men series than any other Big Two franchise. That is true.
It's true.
There were so fucking many mutant series. Dude, you had 5 X-Men books. You had Uncanny X-Men, X-Factor, New Mutants, Excalibur, and Wolverine. After the explosion of popularity that 1991 represented for the X-Men, that number started to rise. New Mutants morphed into X-Force. Generation X would become the default Teen Mutant book. A Mutant X would present an alternate universe take on the team. When characters like Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman had 4 books, the X-Men topped out at 9 ongoing books at the height of their popularity, along with multiple miniseries. The X-Men ran the table, something that wouldn't happen again until the Krakoa era that we are in right now. So
9
right now,
books.
I think there's at least that many now. You've definitely got Excalibur, Marauders, X-Force, X-Men, Sword, Excalibur, and then there's Legion of X and X-Men Unlimited and X-Men Immortal, and I mean, bro, it's there's a shit ton of them right now. Scores of mutant heroes and villains were introduced. Yeah, they gave us a ton of new characters. blue and gold teams were introduced.
Yeah, that was a big thing back then.
Yeah. 1991 opened. The X-Men had gotten a bit unwieldy. Longtime writer Chris Claremont was a master of juggling characters, but he was leaving. Besides that, Marvel knew that 2 X-Men books would sell better than 1, so they split up the massive group into blue and gold teams. These 2 incarnations of X-Men became the 2 most iconic rosters in the team's history. Blue team was stacked with the most popular character like Wolverine, Psylocke, Gambit, and Rogue. But the gold team was no slouch, with popular mainstays like Storm, Jean Grey, Bishop, Iceman, and Colossus. The split team era paid off, allowing creators to cover the gamut of X-Men stories in more digestible packages. Yeah. There are a lot of forgotten gems along their 90s output. Yeah, there's a lot of forgotten gems. Wolverine eclipsed the greats in popularity in the 90s. Yeah. Wolverine is one of Marvel's greatest heroes, but it was a long road from his first appearance in The Incredible Hulk number 181 to this point. His stature kept increasing throughout the 80s, but the 90s was when he truly hit his stride. His solo book was an established bestseller, often outselling Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman books, as well as every other solo Marvel hero, and he was usually the focus of the X-Men books. The 90s was when Wolverine truly became one of Marvel's biggest solo stars, a distinction he still holds today. He was everywhere during the decade, but his home was with the X-Men, their popularity feeding off each other in a symbiotic circle. Yeah, I think Wolverine has crossed over more than any other character. I think Wolverine's been in like every comic. Like every title Wolverine's been in at some point. And then, of course, X-Men events were the biggest Marvel events in the 90s, right? You had Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, but Infinity Crusade underwhelmed. Marvel was putting out crossovers and related families of books, but the biggest ones were always the X-Men events. You had Onslaught. Yeah. What'd you say?
No, I said you're right. It was the X-Men. They were always the biggest events.
Yeah.
Span like 8 issues, 10 issues. With them dipping into 6 other issues from other people's monthly comic. Yeah, right. So you might have the X-Men storyline dip into the Hulk issue for 1 month, and then, it's just crazy.
Yeah. 3, the biggest artists were on the X-Men books. Marvel has been a lot of amazing artists, but by the vast majority of them all had one thing in common. They worked on the X-Men books. Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Whilce Portacio, Mark Silvestri were all on X-Men books when they left for Image, breaking records before leaving, and Marvel found some worthy replacements for them. Artists like Andy Kubert, Adam Kubert, Lineal Yu, Chris Bellaccio, Carlos Pacheco, and Joe Madureira all came to prominence because of their X-Men runs. All of them would go on to huge things in the industry in the future. Their X-Men runs nabbing them legions of fans. Age of Apocalypse became the quintessential alternate universe comic. This is true.
Number 1. X-Men number 1 is the best-selling comic of all time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. X-Men number 1. Dude, and there's a whole bunch of versions.
Yeah, you got the gatefold version right there. And each one of them, like Storm and Beast and Archangel, got a cover. Colossus, Rogue, Psylocke, and Gambit got a cover. Wolverine and Cyclops got a cover. Magneto has his own cover.
Yep.
And it was like, I have like literally all of them and the gatefold cover.
That's the Magneto joint. I've got a bunch of them. And this is the what'd you call it? Gatefold?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Marvel, the comic wraps around, the cover wraps around, and then also when you open it, they fold out.
Yep.
To a bigger one, so it's like a 4-page thing. Let's see if I can whip it out for y'all. Yeah, so there's the back. So it's like Cyclops, Yeah, he's hitting Magneto with his thing, and then I can't
with
fold
an
it all the
optic
way out.
blast.
Yeah,
He's optic blasting.
Yep.
Magneto.
Yeah, and then on the inside, if you were fool enough to rip the cover off your comic book,
Exactly.
you have a whole
X-Men roster poster.
X-Men roster.
You have some people that were. You have some people that might have framed that.
Oh yeah.
Keep it
Oh yeah.
but
No question.
Some people might have bought two. Framed
Did you
one.
do it too?
I can't hear you, Spade. I'm sorry.
I said, did you do it too?
You're breaking up.
Did you
You're
buy
breaking
two
up,
of them
Spade.
too?
You're breaking up.
Hey,
no
no judgment here if you did, man. Because I'm like, I had a friend of mine in 8th grade, and he had bought an X-Men #1, and he ended up buying 2 copies because he was like, we was supposed to be like paying attention in English class or something. He was flipping through the book. He was like, "Yo, man, this is a gatefold cover. Like it's a poster. Rip." So he takes the whole book out. He wants to put the poster on his wall. And he was like, and so I mean, he had, I ain't making fun of people that got money, but he had money, so his pops went out and bought him a second issue. I was like, well, why not? They were right at $1.75 or something like that back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was like, it wasn't no big thing anyway.
Yeah, I made a poster out of mine, out of one of them. So
yeah.
I
mean, that's what they wanted. That was what they intended. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I ever find a frame long enough to hold it, I'm gonna put it in it. It's gonna get framed.
Yeah.
But I got the idea from a friend of mine where they did it. They actually took one. He bought 2 of them, and he actually took one just to get the poster.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
You need something like that, you buy 2 of them.
The X-Men's darkest timeline was the Age of Apocalypse, which featured a few of 10 X-Men redesigns from the Age of Apocalypse we were just talking about. So this is how weird they were. Like they really changed the characters. Like this is Quicksilver. This was number 10. They changed his costume.
I like Wolverine's costume. I like Cyclops and Wolverine's costumes. I thought they were dope.
Yeah, I think they were the most drastically changed. Cyclops with long hair, with the one eye, Wolverine with the missing hand and the big giant head of hair, his big mane.
Yeah, it was dope. Man.
Yeah. I was not a super fan of the Wolverine look.
You didn't like Feral Wolverine?
It's not that I didn't like Feral Wolverine. It's just like let me show you why. Because
we need some X-Men legends of those that Wolverine and Cyclops. I mean, that's what we need.
Like that?
Yeah.
They do. They have the Cyclops and they have the Wolverine. But yeah, like this is his head. It's just it's huge. And it's sort of like, but it's really cool. Like, and this one has the claws on his little hand, on his glove, on his chopped off hand. But yeah, I mean it's a cool figure. But you see how his head is, like his neck.
Well, who would win in a fight, him or one-handed Aquaman?
Wolverine, of course.
That's a good one.
Wolverine, of course.
But I liked it one-handed Aquaman.
Aquaman with that hook was off the chain, though.
Yes, he was. Surfer dude Aquaman.
Yeah, I'm like angry Aquaman.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. No, he's definitely got the strength and shit to whoop on Wolverine. But if Wolverine can survive the Hulk, he can survive Aquaman. And all he's got to do is gut him. Hardy boy, what up, man?
This is true.
Hardy boy,
salute.
Yeah.
Sunfire. This was I love the Sunfire redesign. Much better in my opinion. I was never a fan of Sunfire's mask. It always looked kind of weird to me. It was kind of, but this version is really cool. I also have the figure of him too. That's interesting. I didn't even. Cable was reimagined as a powerful young mutant named Nate Gray. Not a change I was a fan of. I like my old gritty old bastard Cable. That's what I like. They gave us Shadowcat and Colossus had a harder edge and became the teachers of the AOA's Generation Next. This was one that I liked. I preferred rather. I liked this Colossus better than the original Colossus. I thought this one looks way cooler. He's got the mask. As to find love, although they were hardened. Yeah, he was just more hard, like more gritty. Like he's always such a goody Boy Scout, and which is cool. I mean, that's who he is. But I'm a anti-hero fan, man. It's just what I like. But then they gave us Banshee.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. He had a jagged cape and a dark costume that fit the Age of Apocalypse well. Yeah. It was that was a really cool change.
Banshee's always to me been one of the more underrated X-Men characters.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. He's one of the original.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was from, I think the first giant size X-Men. Yeah, he was there. He was the Irish or Scottish. I don't know. But they I think it was Irish. But yeah, that's what giant size X-Men was all about. They went to different countries, right? They got Wolverine from Canada. They got Colossus from Russia. They got Storm from Africa. They got Sunfire from Japan, right? Banshee from Ireland. And that's what they basically did. They went, each one has a very, characteristic of that country that they're from.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of how they made the new roster. Clarice Ferguson was a casualty of the Phalanx, who became the popular Blink in the Age of Apocalypse. So Blink, she's definitely a new version. She first appeared in the 616 reality. She was a young mutant who sacrificed her life to stop a Phalanx known as Harvest during the Phalanx Covenant event. So the Phalanx is a being or a group of beings that they reused in the House of X, Powers of X story, and really well done. Like that they made me fans of the Phalanx. Like that's still my favorite comic story, bro. It's just so good. Rogue was a leader of the X-Men and wife of Magneto, whose costume mirrored his. So you can see she's got the sort of like bolt thing around her neck that he has, and she was Magneto's wife. So that was weird. Magneto's work with the X-Men allowed the attraction between him and Rogue that was left unexplored in the 616 reality to bloom into a loving relationship and marriage of the Age of Apocalypse. It was a smaller glimmer of hope in the dark timeline as Magneto and Rogue welcome an infant child named Charles. Morph was one that got a really cool redesign. I would like a Morph figure. Morph looks cool here. He's got the Magneto cape thing going. Kevin Sidney was a mutant shapeshifter known as Changeling, who briefly posed as Professor X before he died in the 616 universe, though he survived in the Age of Apocalypse timeline to become a hero named Morph. Wasn't Morph in the first episode?
Yep.
The X-Men.
Yep. Yes, he was Wolverine's homie. He was Wolverine's big homie.
Because when he got killed, Wolverine went off.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Jean Grey received an even darker redesign in the Return of the Age of Apocalypse reality. So yeah, she's just looking all dark and edgy. The initial redesign of Jean Grey for the Age of Apocalypse event already stood out among fans, as she was given similar facial markings as other characters like Weapon X and Blink, along with a short hairstyle and simplified new costume. It was Jean's powerful new abilities that allowed her to tap into the Phoenix Force, and save the Age of Apocalypse reality after Magneto and the X-Men fixed the timeline. She adopted a new twist on her Phoenix costume and helped lead the ongoing fight to free her world from the villains who filled the void left by Apocalypse. Yeah, that's pretty badass. That's a cool. On the right, the Phoenix one. I mean, that's pretty dope. 5 ways the Age of Apocalypse aged well, and 5 ways it didn't. Yeah, but there. See, I like that Colossus. That's cool.
I don't know if I got. Yeah, listen, it aged well. It's a great comic. I can't say it didn't, because once you read it, that was it. I don't even see how you either liked it or you didn't. I don't even see how you can say it. You know, these guys, when they write nowadays, they take it a little bit too far, man. You know, you either go back and read it and you like it or you don't, and that means you didn't like it to begin with. So if you liked it when you first read it, you're gonna like it again.
This is true. Aged well, cements Apocalypse as villain. He proved a formidable villain before the storyline bearing his name, transforming Angel into Archangel and infecting Nathan Summers with the techno-organic virus that would lead to his becoming Cable. But with the Age of Apocalypse, he steps into the ex-villain Hall of Fame. Yeah, I agree. Number 9, did not age well. Overly dark. I guess didn't age well for the time.
It was written.
I think that's an age well.
Written to be. Yeah, right. Because it was written to be overly dark.
That was my point. It was like it was supposed to be dark. So how can you say it's overly
supposed to be dark?
Like,
I haven't read what they're gonna say yet, but I bet it has something to do with the current society that we find ourselves in, liberal. Well, let's see what they say. All right. While the story is necessarily dark, it is also unnecessarily indulgent in the worst tendencies of 90s comic. Yeah, I'm done. All right. Aged well. Yeah. They don't know what they're talking about.
A fully realized world. I don't know why you would need to read. Listen, I told you it ain't worth reading, man. It's just somebody putting their opinion out there, trying to distract you from, whatever it is. But
that's what we do. We talk about these things.
Right. Age of Apocalypse was good. I don't care what anybody says. If you want to say it aged well and you didn't, that means that you don't have a good attention span when you read. That's all I can tell you. Comics were written different back then than they are now.
If you say it didn't age well, it's like just like you said, Stu, that's a perfect point. Comics were written different. They were written different from in the 1940s and 50s and 60s than they were in the 80s and 90s. So it's like comics written different in the early 2000s than they are in 2022.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you can't say something aged well or didn't age well. I'm like, that was it for its time.
Yeah.
And like us three, we grew up in a different era. So I'm like, we have fond memories of stuff we read and saw when we were kids.
Mm-hmm. Right. I thought you were gonna say we aged well.
We don't age, man. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, we age.
Look at us. Everybody thinks we in our early 20s.
That's right. When I put these on,
yes, sir.
I really look young.
There you go. Bam.
You about 19 right there, sir.
I mean,
I'm gonna quote a 90s phrase. Whoop, there it is. I thought you knew.
Oh. Yeah, but what they're saying here, aged well, a fully realized world. I dig this. They said dark alternate realities are a dime a dozen in comic books, right? Replete with moments that could never take place otherwise. But the story does more than just present a mirror universe version of Earth 616. It really does. Though it plays out just over 4 months, the Age of Apocalypse presents a fully realized world, heavily layered and considered world building. And that's true. Like, they could have just done an easy mirror of 616 and just, made all the male heroes female or what, you know what I mean? Like, or all the villains are good guys, but they didn't do that. Like, they nuanced shit. Everyone didn't change. Like, but it was a fully realized world. It had its own everything. It wasn't just a bad mirror of 616. Like, it had its own world, and they did a really good job at that. There were even maps in the comic that showed the different worlds and stuff. It was really, really well done. Did not age well. Magneto and Rogue. The Magneto and Rogue being together. I mean, it was the
twist. It was just the way it was written.
You can't out of nowhere.
Right.
They had an attraction in the 616.
Right.
They had an attraction. They just couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
It says it was implied the two were more than colleagues in the main story where they were in the Savage Land. Yeah. So they.
So I said, man, this was written by somebody who didn't read these comics back then.
Yeah, this is someone who doesn't understand. Yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Aged well. Sabretooth as a hero. Why does that age well? Sabretooth is a bad guy. He's just a bad guy. He's the baddest of bad guys. I don't see him as a hero. I think it would be stupid.
He's always been right. He's always, and at times he's walked the fence.
Yeah,
but he's always been a bad guy.
But he's always been a sort of
bad guy.
Bad. He's too bad to be good. He, what I mean. Even in the current stuff in the Krakoa. Well, like I said, I'm reading this Sabretooth comic. And this is a really great example. Like he's a bad guy, but he's also he's a persecuted guy. Like he's also been, sort of ousted by the mutants and stuff. Like they don't like he's a very misunderstood dude at the same time.
Yeah.
So I can see them going that way with it, but he's got his moments, like you said, Stu. But yeah, he's a bad guy. Come on. I don't know why this is. Thank you for the ad, but I don't need that. Where are we at? Jean Grey died. Yeah,
because it's her destiny to do so. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
No matter what universe it's in, no matter what timeline it's on, it just happens. And it's there's the art. The writers are showing you, just like with Gwen Stacy, it's just inevitable. Just like with Doctor Strange and all the stuff we ever say, it's just inevitable and it can't be stopped.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are behind it. It's just always gonna replay. Like Jean fulfilled her other signature move, coming back from the dead. When Marvel revisited the alternate timeline for its 10th anniversary, turns out Sinister resurrected her from genetic material. So it doesn't really matter. Like some way or form, she's gonna die. She's gonna come back. It's just what she does.
Right.
Yeah. Blink aged well. Wonder what they mean by
care.
That. Yeah,
don't care.
What you got against Blink, dude?
Not a damn thing, because it just makes no sense to me. I like. Well, we can read it, but I like the Age of Apocalypse. I can't sit. I'm not gonna sit there and pick it apart. If you were gonna pick it apart like this, you should have did that back in the 90s.
Well, they liked it. They liked this one. They said Blink is. They said as much as the Age of Apocalypse was a chance to change things up for the X-Men, it was also a chance to right some wrongs. Blink debuted in the Phalanx Covenant event and became an instant fan favorite. Only she died in the story, leading to calls to bring her back. She returned in a much more prominent role for the Age of Apocalypse, and better still, became one of the few characters to cross over into the main Marvel continuity. Later became a key member of the Exiles. So this is a character. So, and they'll do this. They'll have like characters from Age of Apocalypse come into the 616 timeline and be okay. They were really a character in Age, but now they're a character in 616, and I love that. And she was a great example of that. That's true. Let's see. Did not the other escapees? What are they talking about? Having unique characters survive the Age of Apocalypse into 616 was a cool way to capitalize on the tremendous success of the event. Unfortunately, outside of Blink and perhaps the Dark Beast, another great one, this crossover program never realized its full potential. The evil version of Hank McCoy, Dark Beast, has been active ever since, but the other escapees from the timeline, including Holocaust and Sugar Man, never amounted to much at all Unlike Rachel Summers, who survived Days of Future Past into main continuity, none of the Age of Apocalypse characters had anywhere near the impact. You're not making sense, buddy. Number 2, aged well.
That didn't age well then.
Yeah,
exactly.
It makes sense. Page aged well, paved way for House of X. This is dope. This is true. The Age of Apocalypse was a seismic event for the X-Men, and most of its lasting contribution might be the way it informed later stories, suspending publication of the mainline titles and dropping fans into a strange, uncertain version of reality that is in some way the result of time travel probably sounds familiar to fans of the current Dawn of X storyline. While there is no indication that the present situation is an alternate reality, thanks to the many lives of Moira McTaggart, it arguably is. Yeah, no, you're talking out your neck, bro. But I do like that he mentioned, because I just said this earlier in today's show, Moira McTaggart, reliving her life so many times is sort of how we get to where we are, and it would be a great way for the MCU to bring in the mutants. So I really hope they do. This is, again, an idiot comment. Number 1 did not. No real lasting impact. Are you out of your mind? Despite proving a template for later events, the Age of Apocalypse did not have any true lasting impact on the X-Men. None of the characters that crossed over stuck around the team, and none of the events of the story produced any major consequences for Earth 616. You literally just said the contrary 2 spots ago. This has sadly become a feature, and not a big fan of X-Men storylines. Wait, what? No, sorry. This has sadly become a feature and not a big X-Men storylines. I don't know, maybe a typo. Ever since the shocking and status quo destroying end of the Dark Phoenix saga was retconned, a few X-Men stories have produced any major lasting effects. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense, bro.
What I tell
yeah,
you,
we like it. We like it.
You should have read it when it first came out. And if you didn't, guess what? You can't pick it apart. You don't have the right to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You don't have the right. You didn't live it.
It seems like you would. I mean, but that's what that's what this new generation does now. This new generation of writers, they psychoanalyze everything. They pick everything apart. They look at the nuance. Nobody cares. I mean, either you like it or you don't. It's like Brussels sprouts. Either you eat them or you don't. That's it. There's no in between. There's no why I like them, but they have a nutty taste. But at the same time, the texture is just doesn't do it for me. But I can still eat them. But no, nobody's doing all that. You either like it or you don't. You either drink the water or you don't.
I was talking to my son about this the other day. There's so many like YouTubers and stuff, and they put out these video essays where they're like, why this movie sucked. But it'll be a good movie, and they'll actually talk about why it's actually good. But then I could literally take anything, and I've said this before, I could take any IP, any movie, any franchise, anything you pick, give it to me. I will pick it apart, and I will show you all the shit that sucks about it. Anything, your favorite fucking thing, something you think is just infallible. I could find a bunch of shit that's wrong with it and do a whole video about how it sucks. Why? Well, who does that serve? It's like we already like it. Get the fuck out of here! I told you. We already like it. Why give? Why are you telling us all this shit for no reason? And what makes it even worse is usually the person talking about it, they actually really do like it. So they're literally just finding the stuff that you could say about anything. And I don't find the purpose in it. Like, I don't think it serves anything. It doesn't give us any information. It doesn't teach us anything new. It's just a waste time. And I feel that's kind of like what they did there. Yeah, it is. Guys, well, anything else? What do we have left? I think we have some more. Do we have some more? I mean, I could go on. There's a lot more I could talk about. How are you guys feeling? You guys want to end the show? You want to keep going? Talk to me.
I'm good either way. I know I'm getting kind of hungry in the
I'm
tum tum,
good,
but
man.
we can
Yeah,
talk some more.
it's
We got
about
something to talk
9:30,
about.
man. Now we've been rocking out for almost 3 hours now. It's just 2 hours and
Yeah,
50 minutes. We've been rocking.
250. Yeah, we can go. We got more content. We surely can, man. Let us know in the chat.
We
But
can
for
save
real,
some of it for Wednesday. We can save
we
some
got
of it for Wednesday and just just end it off, man.
Yeah, Wednesday we got a good show for you. Wednesday we got the new Obi-Wan episode 6. Finally, that's gonna be dope. A lot of cool Star Wars shit to talk about. Maybe we'll touch on the third episode of Ms. Marvel. But we got some good content coming for that. I don't know what happened to Sada, but we have something in the works as well with her. And Saturday, of course, we're back for DC Power Hour. So don't forget, guys. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're gonna be here rocking out with hip hop and comic style shows, all kinds of hip hop and comic content, and don't forget also, when you catch me, you can catch me on Instagram selling comics. And you can see me right here at 6_element_comics, doing live shows on Instagram. But yeah, hop on there and check me out on IG. And yeah, eat your Brussels sprouts, guys.
Please do.
Spade in the house. Yeah, man. Oh, Spade, while you're here, when is tell everybody when we're gonna see you wrestle.
Oh yeah, when's your match? Yes, sir. Talk to us.
July 2nd.
Yes, sir. The day before my birthday, so I gotta put a W in that collar. I ain't gonna celebrate no birthday with no loss.
Now, do you have a cameraman or a woman?
I can find one. I will have one.
You'll find one? Okay. All right. And before we go real quick, I do want to show you this. So this is coming out tomorrow. All right. And I can't wait personally, but check this shit out, y'all.
The high concept for the Black Adam series is there is no redemption for Black Adam. It is a very, very different look at this character. If this guy does exist, if he is 5,000 years old, if he does have this kingdom in the middle of this turbulent region, what would that be like? He's pure villainy in the same way that somebody like Dracula is. And what we're trying to do is add dimension and nuance. He is now someone who is facing his own mortality and is obsessed with legacy. Every step that Black Adam takes toward redemption causes fractions within his own country. Rafa Sandoval arrives with a thunder clap that is just amazing. Now is a perfect time for this approach for the Black Adam character.
Fuck yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to get Muncie and them to sign me, or one of them to sign me up for that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. That's going in the pull list for real. 12 issues.
On this shit.
I want them.
I'm
gonna be having those.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, I watched that a few weeks back, man. I was definitely hyped. I think we talked about it on the Saturday show.
Yeah,
but we never watched the trailer. But it was definitely hyped. Yeah, that's Christopher Priest. They say he is solely responsible for making Black Panther cool.
Yeah, and yeah, that comic book is hopefully. It appears to not. It's not like a movie adaptation or anything, and I don't think they're going to be doing that anymore. That's just a horrible way to make something. But yeah, that's a really badass Black Adam comic. So I definitely plan to be getting that. Yeah. Shout out to my man OG Lee, OG Green Lantern. Been on the show a bunch of times. He's got a comic shop. You got Muncie, Marvelous Muncie, and Spade. You got Wade's Comic Madness. So you should definitely hit Wade up for put that in your pull list. But I would hit him up today because he'll be getting it at his shop. If he didn't get it today, he'll have it tomorrow. So
sure.
else, yeah, because they drop DC on Tuesday. Wednesday is Marvel.
Wednesday
so
Marvels.
yeah. All right, y'all. We will see you guys Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.